If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You are listening to DC On Screen.
Welcome into DC On Screen. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
All right, so this episode, I cannot promise a big, iconic show. That'll be up to you guys to decide listening out there. But we are talking about a big, iconic movie today. And it's one we've never reviewed on this podcast before in all of 10 years, if you can believe it. So we're talking about the theatrical cut of Richard Donner's Superman the movie, starring, of course, Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, Ned Beatty, Margot Kidder, and, of course, Christopher Reeve. You might be asking, now, Dave, what do you mean by theatrical cut? I mean, it's the original film, released in theaters December 15th, 1978, stateside anyway. It's 2 hours, 23 minutes long. It is available on HBO Max.
I was going to point out that's where I watched this part in case anyone was curious about which cut I watched.
And I specify because there are two other...
Shout out to whatever you're called now, Max.
Yeah. I specify that, though, because there are two other notable versions out there. The special edition, which is 2 hours, 31 minutes long. It is Richard Donner's preferred cut of the film. And then there's the extended cut, which is a little over 3 hours, with lots of padded scenes, deleted scenes. This is a version Richard Donner hated and wished would never have been seen. But it is also important to have if you're like me and you saw it for the first time on television and think, no, I want to see all this stuff that I remember, this random little weird stuff. Like watching it this time, like I generally watch either the special edition or the extended cut because that's how I grew up watching it. So,
and you said special was how long?
The special edition, which is essentially the director's cut, was 2 hours and 31 minutes.
Okay. So we're only 8 minutes shy of it.
Right. Okay. Right.
You'll have to explain later if you'd like what we're missing exactly.
There are little things, and you'll have to forgive me because I don't remember every bit that that's in the extended cut versus the special edition. I'm pretty sure the special edition has, for instance, when he's running beside the train and you see the little girl notice him and she's like excited. In this version, it just cuts away without the little girl or her parents talking. And in like I think it's the special edition, she calls attention to Clark running, and they of course don't see him anymore. He's already gone on, and they're like, "Lois Lane, you and your imagination," or something like that. And
of course.
So they make clear that this little girl is Lois Lane. They've crossed paths as youths, and
yeah, why not?
I would prefer it not be Lois Lane, I think. But, the nice thing about that is that her parents are played by Kirk Allen, the original Superman, and Noel Neill, who was one of the original Lois Lanes. So that was...
Oh, that is... I did not realize Kirk Allen was there for that. I'm going to go back and
you didn't even see his face. You don't see his face, but it's him.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Still, interesting.
So, there are little bits like that. I believe the special edition, as well as the 3 hour cut, have the gauntlet where Superman, drills into the concrete to get into Lex's lair. And as he's walking through, there are machine guns, there are, there are flamethrowers, there are all these like extreme cold, all this like gauntlet of tests to see what Superman can withstand as Lex is watching him on the monitors. That was not in this cut.
Oh, well, that would have, I would have preferred that.
Yeah. Yeah, there are little things that you just kind of go, oh, I wish that was there. And maybe one day we'll get around to watching those special editions.
Yeah.
But also, we just kind of talked about them here.
Yeah.
Oh, but see, kids, multiple cuts didn't start with Snyder.
Oh, God, no.
Now,
it's been a problem long before that.
Before we actually really get into the movie, though, I do want to acknowledge something. In typical fashion, I forgot to post a damn thing about it on the day, but May 18th was the 10th anniversary of this show, DC On Screen. Totally slipped my mind, which sucks because I have forgotten to post anything every year after the first anniversary. I was determined to remember the 10th, and I still forgot.
And proud tradition.
In a proud tradition, yeah. So I'm disappointed to have forgotten on the day. But I'm also, incredibly grateful for all of the friends we've made over these past 10 years.
Absolutely.
I'm grateful for everyone who consistently lets us into their ears to talk about this vast fictional multiverse. And I'm also very, very grateful for you, Jason. I absolutely could have done this show without you.
Oh, thank you.
I said could have.
Oh.
But I wouldn't have had anywhere near as much fun. So.
See, like that.
Yeah. I say this every year, and then also whenever we hit like another 100 milestone. But man, I love you, man, and I'm so glad we finally started recording these episodes. I feel like if we had started from the beginning, we would be celebrating our 15th anniversary right now. But
yeah, very, very likely.
All right,
which would have been interesting to see for one very specific reason, because I would have liked to have seen like our lead up to Man of Steel, and compare it to now.
Yeah,
what we were thinking then.
Yeah. Last year, though, I started trying to figure out what we were going to do for the 10th anniversary. Life got really weird, busy, and
it has been an interesting year. I mean, interesting in the harshest terms.
Yeah,
it's
been a ride. That tradition continues as well. But I'm actually really pleased that this winds up being our 10th anniversary episode, because we're reviewing Superman the movie, which is the blueprint for every modern superhero film.
True. And
I do want to say, I love this film. I have the utmost respect for this film. We will be making fun of some of the stuff in this film. We're going to love on it, as we say here in the South. And then we're also going to take it to task as well. Yeah. Because there are some weird-ass choices in this thing.
There honestly, there are so many weird choices that if I'm being honest, it's more going to be this is probably going to be more you explaining to me why I would like this movie. I don't really like it that much now.
Well,
it just was not that fun to watch.
Wow. Hoo-wee. Oh, man, I feel like a Roiland character over here. Hoo-wee.
Sorry.
It's about to get hot up in here.
It's not that hot a take. I was just like,
it's not.
Like, there's some seriously 70s stuff going on in the movie. It's just, like, whew.
I hate to break it to you, but it was made in the 70s, Jason.
Yeah. Yeah. Even for the 70s and the 70s. There's some great stuff too, but there was, it's a long 2.5 hours.
Yeah. What struck me, because it has been quite a while since I sat down and really just watched the movie.
It's going to be a while before I see this ever again.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be a long time before I realize now why I have not gone back and watched this the entire time we've been doing this show.
I have suggested this several times, and you have like fought me tooth and nail. Like,
I didn't.
Nobody cares. Like, nobody wants to watch that.
I don't think I've seen it since I was a kid. And then as I was watching it, I was just, I don't think I was all that interested in parts of this. Like, it was a weird experience for me, because I remember deeply loving like Quest for Peace. Like, but that was because I was like 3 and I saw it for the first time. That was different. Like, I experienced 78 Superman after the fact, like after Fleischer and stuff like that. It was a very different thing. I don't remember seeing this and it just rewriting the landscape of my life. I'd already seen Fleischer, frankly. Like, that was an earlier memory of I mean, a way more formative Superman for me.
That's a good point. I don't know whether I saw Fleischer or this first, but
I definitely did see Fleischer first. Like, some of my earliest, most 1-inch shag carpet brown wood panel 80s memories are with Fleischer.
Mm-hmm. It's close for me.
I don't remember this one being on repeat anywhere.
I do think it was this. I think it was the 3-hour cut, because I remember my parents saying they're going to play it over 2 nights. And, that would have been the long ass 3-hour cut. Right. That was padded to absolute absurdity. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this. I think that's my first memory, is seeing Superman. One of my first memories is seeing Superman save Lois. You've got me. Who's got you? That bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's parts of it that I definitely remember from that piece of childhood, or that chunk, but it's later than some of the earlier stuff. I mean, for sure, I remember some Ghostbusters at that time way more clearly than some Superman.
Definitely.
Other than some of the cartoons.
Definitely. And yeah.
The Superman was more like a couple of things that I was able to get my hands on, but it was just sidebars, not actual comics and stuff. And then mostly just cartoons and seeing that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ghostbusters would have been around the same time. for me.
It swelled right at the mid 80s when I was born. I mean, it was literally the number one movie in theaters for the week I was born. Purple Rain had just handed off the reins, or was handed them. I can't remember. It was adjacent to it.
I couldn't tell you.
Either way, it was a hell of a run.
So immediately, something I noticed in this movie, though, is it starts out, and I think to its detriment, it starts out with Jor-El and the council banishing General Zod, Nan, and Ursa to the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
And I think it is to the detriment of this movie because they don't fucking show up anywhere else in the fucking movie.
Yeah, I kept thinking they were going to be a thing, that it mattered. It did not.
Now, originally, supposedly, because they were shooting some of 2
Nor
with
did the
this.
Phantom Zone in general. Yeah.
Right. Because they were shooting some of 2 along with this. And originally what was supposed to happen was Superman was supposed to throw one of the missiles into space, and the missile was supposed to hit that glass of the Phantom Zone and release the criminals, and that's how this movie would end.
How they make it back to...
Yeah. And the reversing of the Earth was supposed to be in Superman 2 to erase Lois's memory of him being Superman. I'm not sure why they changed that, but at the moment that they realized they were not going to do that, they should have taken out that chunk of the council banishing them.
I could see it. I mean, I had one note in there. I think it was like 10 minutes of the movie in, and there are several of my notes where I wrote down just we're at X time in the movie and I still don't know this. And I'm going to kind of blanketly say that like that's probably just 70s pacing. And this exaggerated, I think, here. Even for 70s pacing, this felt like, woof, what are we doing in whole chunks? But like it's the whole movie is kind of a series of vignettes more than a story.
I feel like that's a Mario Puzo thing. He's the guy
The writing?
Yeah, he wrote The Godfather. And there's something I like about it where it's like...
But it's kind of modular, though. Like, I mean, basically the Krypton thing, like, yes, it tells a story. Like, that Krypton has to go first, but it didn't have to be there at all.
Right.
Like,
well, Krypton could be there, but like they had 2 segments of Krypton. They had the banishing of the Kryptonian villains, and then they had it goes right out of that into
no, he's on trial.
We're fucked. And they're like,
I'm sure there was a contrast thing. Well, oh no, you're the one on trial now. I mean, there were several contrasting themes like that were well done in the movie.
Yeah, but I didn't need that. Like
it didn't accomplish much though.
Right. Like it's just bad filmmaking to me, but it's a lot of what people complain about now with Marvel movies. Like, oh, it's set up for the next one. Well, okay. All right. That's what it winds up serving for. But
kind of winds up, but very much after the fact. I'm halfway through what's that book we'll keep trying to read, the Superman vs. Hollywood or whatever. It's basically just the half that I'm through is just the Salkinds accidentally made these things. I mean, there's some real art going on in the first one, and then everything after that is just barely getting it across the finish line. Like the rest of the franchise just accomplished by the hairiest of margins and to make money for sure. It's not short of this movie having some really nice goals, and you can kind of tell where they did and where they really got some nice effects out of it, and some seriously they accomplished wonders in their way. But like you can tell after that it fell apart entirely. Parts of this aren't coherent really. What's good about this exists by accident.
I wouldn't say that, because I do get the sense of a sprawling epic. I do, there like Donner and the cinematographer like based a lot of the shots on Rockwell paintings, and I got that. I felt that. Like it does feel wholesome in a way that Norman Rockwell paintings portrayed.
Well, the farm scenes absolutely, but
yeah, even the city scenes, there was a lot of like, there's a grandeur to the movie, like Lois is on, an assignment out in the desert, like it feels like the locations are grand and epic.
Yeah. The Hoover Dam or a mock-up of it.
Absolutely. And that actually, like Jimmy Olsen looking at the dam, was a reference to a Norman Rockwell painting.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. But I think like seeing Clark as a child, like a little child, and then seeing Clark as a teenager, and I feel like getting to that moment of him flying out as Chris Reeve. I feel like that a lot of that was like lended to the epic feeling, the saga feeling of it. But also, like, there's like no conflict through the first like half of the movie, at least.
I marked down. I think we were 1 hour in when we met Lex Luthor, and when we met him, it was not clear that he was doing anything in the movie. Really, I mean, we met him, but I think it was another 15, 20 minutes in before we figured out why we had met him.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we meet him when I think the first thing we see of him is his hand, like controlling that door.
Otis is heading back to the...
Yeah, Otis is heading back, and then like the cop is following him, and he pushes the cop out in front of the train.
Yeah.
With the little lever.
Yeah, with the Looney Tunes looking lever death thing. I mean, it is kind of a funny, brutal way to introduce somebody.
I do enjoy Hackman's Luthor. Like he's a cartoon, but he's fun.
He very much is. And one of the things that's a shame about the entire franchise is that more of this isn't captured. He is having so much fun.
Yes.
I think that is in the book, though, that he enjoyed the process under one set of conditions. That changed immediately, and he said, I don't want anything to do with it. And they took some of the scraps of what he'd filmed and tried to make the rest of it out of it.
He left. But Hackman left because they fired Donner.
Was that it?
Mm-hmm.
But so during this initial filming, though, he was interested and happy with it. Or I think that was the backstage part. But anyway, on screen, it certainly appears that way. He's having a great time. He does a wonderful fucking job.
Yeah. He's
immediately charming.
Yeah.
Immediately.
One of my favorite lines is, "Oh Lord, you gave them eyes, yet they do not see."
Yes.
Every time he screams Miss Tessmacher, I laugh.
Miss Tessmacher? Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It really is the way he does it. It's just from the very, very bottom of his stomach, man. And the Miss Tessmacher line like has its own almost story arc throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The last time is almost a mournful Miss Tessmacher.
And he is a cartoon, but he's such a wonderful, sinister being because you look at him like, oh yeah, he's a mustache twirling piece of shit.
Yeah.
But then the cold-blooded way when she's like, well, my mother lives in New Jersey. And he like just calmly looks at his watch and then looks back up at her with furrowed brow and shakes his head like, like, oh God. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was not kind.
That one hit harder to me than when Superman was like, that's how you get your kicks, Luthor? Whatever, like you threatening the lives of innocent people? No. By taking the lives of innocent people.
Yeah, he's rough there.
Something like that. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He genuinely, something I thought about in that scene, because, that's where he finally hits him up in the lair, or shows up in the lair.
Mm-hmm.
Which, fun set design. Dear God, that must have been so much fun to do that pool. Well, not to build it. That would have been a pain in the ass. But to design the what do you call it? The underground
the
train station pool and everything. Yeah, I loved his library. God, the set design was so much fun. But something that occurred to me is, he meets Luthor, and like the first thing he does, he outwits him immediately. Like, but that kind of made sense. Luthor is very smart. Mm-hmm. He did, for some reason, describe all of his weaknesses in an article.
Except he didn't
publish it. I mean, enough of them.
No. In the article, he which the article didn't match what we got on screen, but like what we got on screen was her saying, "Hey, how old are you?" and he doesn't want to say. And then the article apparently says somewhere that Krypton exploded in 1948, even though Jor-El in the Fortress told Clark that many thousands of years or whatever have passed in your time.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so I didn't.
Like, okay,
well, that's another thing. I didn't get how he got that or the radioactive thing out of that article.
Me either. But I'm a simpleton. I'm not as smart as Lex Luthor.
Yeah, we God, what is that line he puts in there? God, I wrote this one down. It was so good. If only I can find it. Something about like, is it electrifying to be in a room with me or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
When I run across it later, I'll rehash it.
But yeah, I'm not broad.
I could see him beating the Superman though. Even with that rudimentary information, one, it was dumb to publish it, and
yes,
but you're not thinking there's somebody like that. And Luthor, for some reason, and by the way, he has no motivation in this other than just he enjoys doing dickish things.
Yeah,
he seems to very, very, very much be into real estate.
Mm-hmm. Land, my boy, land.
Great story about it and all that, but like there is no reason for him at all in this movie or franchise, as far as I can tell. But
Well,
the fact that he outwits him so clear, so quick. Yeah, Superman's a dodo. He doesn't have a natural predator.
Yeah.
Of course he outwits him immediately. No one's ever actually tried to take him down in this franchise.
It's odd. It's bizarre because, like, of course I would think, you had Jonathan Kent, who was like, yeah, we were afraid that somebody would come and take you away. That's why we didn't want you to do this shit in the first place. And this is when, Clark was a kid. He just wanted to play football. And Jonathan's like, yeah, well, we're worried that, someone tried to take you away. I don't know why Clark wouldn't think that was still on the table.
Right.
But although also I'm sitting there thinking, very limited thinking on behalf of John Kent. Clark could have become a star football player, gone into a pro, made millions of dollars, give a shit tons of money to his charity. By God, we don't know why you're here, but it's not to score touchdowns. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
I mean, yeah. You're gonna turn him into an effective altruist, though, basically.
But yeah, he's got issues. But that's an interesting lesson for Clark to learn. You're not here to make money and be famous. Another big lesson for Clark. You, for all your powers, you can't save everyone, because immediately after, John Kent has a massive heart attack and dies.
Right.
Which was the only reason for the whole Lana and Brad thing to be there. They didn't know they were going to make Superman 3, where that would, where Superman would for some reason forget that he was supposed to be with Lois to some degree and go hang out with Lana and fend off her ex-husband Brad. Abusive prick.
He's the guy we hate from that scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Lana. You gotta pick that up too, Clark.
I didn't catch the name. Yeah. Abusive prick, though. Gotcha.
Yeah. And then Superman 3 is her ex-husband.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Off making some other family miserable now, Brad.
I do wish we'd gotten more from Pa and Pa Kent. Like, Martha barely got anything.
Yeah, very, very little on her.
And Pa gets like one quick scene. I guess it was enough. But for something that feels like an epic, we very much didn't get as we get Pa Kent die, and Clark's all upset about that. For all my powers, I couldn't save him. And then we get him staring out the window at the shed. I don't know, or at the barn. I don't know why they never explained why the crystal talking to him telepathically. Was it just beckoning him? He goes into the barn in the early morning hours and just just pulls back a blanket and there's the crystal. I guess that's been hanging out there for some 18 years.
That is not clear. Yeah.
Very confused about all of that. Is the crystal telling him things, tells him where to go?
The crystals in general, they don't, there's no through line with the crystals either. I think it's a design choice that was made. There were several design choices that were made that are, again, man, the 70s was an interesting time. Lots of cocaine. So this one, though, the crystals, they seem to be a futuristic thing, much like, I guess, the aluminum foil suit that they were used in the over-contrasting lighting or whatever. But there's no point. The crystals, I guess, do things sometimes. He handles that one. It does something. The other one calls him, I guess. We don't really know about that. Yeah. I don't know what they're doing. Or later he asks her, she's like, "Are you almost done working?" And he's like, "Sure, I'm almost done." I don't know what he does. Does he grind the crystals in the back with a circular saw? I don't know what the fuck you do with the crystal to build it. It's not clear at all. And then so Brando's swinging this glowing wand crystal thing up in their trial early on. What? Why? It looks great on him because, by the way, one side note to all of the stuff with Brando, you could have cut the entire Krypton thing or the ride over, frankly, the ride over, and done with a small recap. All of it. Yeah. It accomplishes the story of telling you Krypton's backstory. But it does so over 20 minutes when 2 would have done. And to me, its only redeeming value is that Brando could sell anything. Yeah. He could sell fucking anything.
Just by his name, because he wasn't trying here.
No. And he was still that good.
Yeah, he was fine.
Accidentally that good.
He was fine.
He wasn't given much at all. And it kind of... And dude, just one shot. I really wish I was watching this with you moments. But do you remember when Brando? So he's doing his speech to baby baby Cal. They're about to send him off, and he does this nice speech, longish again, where he goes over I'm giving you all this stuff, and I'll always be with you, and here's the crystal and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it goes on for 90 seconds. It feels like, but I swear there's a moment halfway in that where mom looks up and borderline realizes that, oh, you didn't make a single crystal for me. Whatever.
Oh, he did. She's in 2.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. Because it's not there at all. She's a very, very underfoot character in this thing.
Yeah,
to put it mildly.
She's in 2, for sure.
Okay, that's good. He did not mention her at all. Like, she seems to look up surprised, either that Brando is still improvising the scene, I guess, at this point, or that in character she realized that she's not being mentioned in the slightest, and this child is about to leave the planet. Either one struck me.
Yeah, it does seem that way in this movie, but yeah, she's around later.
Well, there were moments even in the movie where I thought, what the hell do we do this for? And then a couple minutes later, they say something. So, okay. Just the timing sometimes didn't hit me.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a lot of explanations like that where it's like, oh, they were filming 2 at once, or 2 ideas were in the mix at once.
Mm-hmm. Also, they were dealing with the fact that I read that Brando was like, hey, why don't we just film the rehearsals just in case? You never know.
and then, let me guess, bounced.
And they're like, yeah, all right. And then, like, he did it well on the first take and then would just, like, not do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the first takes is what they use for, like, the rehearsal takes are what they use for him pretty much the whole time. It's because he just sucked. He just, like, did it one time well and just went, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
And would just fuck off through the rest of it.
Yeah. I mean, that probably damaged everything surrounding the scene except him. But to be fair, his part looked fine. He did do okay.
Yeah, he just comes off as being Kryptonian.
Yeah.
Somewhat emotionally put aside. But yeah, they could have absolutely just not even shown Krypton at the beginning. They could have just like started out in Kansas with the truck. Something falls from the sky.
Would have been fine. They also didn't have to include the 6-year-old naked for. I didn't know that was. I didn't know it was going to be a callback in Man of Steel. That there was a. I guess that was why. There's like he gets out of the ship and like the version of him getting off the ship is like he's 3, 4, whatever this is, and just like he gets off and does like this Buffalo Bill looking pose, like with his arms off. And you remember this at all?
In Man of Steel or in this one?
No, in this one.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. Yes,
it's a big triumphant. Look at me, and then I don't know. I always thought it was weird in Man of Steel that we're like, man, you just had to do the shot where it was just the big naked baby. Okay, and I guess that was maybe an homage later. I'm not sure. I don't know why either of them were necessary.
I mean, it's a baby, man. I mean, I don't care.
Like, I didn't care that much either. I was just like, man, you could have just not shown him nakedly getting off the thing. Or actually,
you know what
cracked me up was like they did a scene where he's crawling up the hill like Houses of the Holy style, not showing his junk. Yeah. And then after that, they're like, but here's the one with the junk. Like, okay.
Yeah. I've seen some of those takes on online. We're like, of course, pedo Hollywood has to show a naked baby. And I'm like, it's a baby. I never would have thought about it until you brought it up. Like, I never went like, oh God, the sexuality of the baby. Like, it never occurred to me at all.
Yeah. The sexuality, that's going to be a whole other aspect that's an unfortunate side. It's not what's occurring to me either. Mine's more the when you have a 6-year-old running naked through the house, you chuckle, but then you tell them to go put some fucking pants on.
Some people do, some people don't. It's at a certain point, it's just like they don't understand. You know what I mean? Like some people think like they don't understand why I'm not gonna put that on them right now. Then again, I would prefer them do it like that in some of the Silver Age comics where like they get him out of the thing and he's like wearing like a diaper with a Superman symbol on it. That
one is also he's pre-swaddled for some reason.
Yeah.
That was another weird one.
I mean, I don't feel like either way it's a Blue Lagoon situation. So
yeah.
I do wish like I when Clark is in that field though and he's about to leave and Martha walks out and she's like you have to leave, don't you, or whatever. I wish I cared more.
Why does he have to leave?
I don't know why he has to leave.
The movie does not tell me why he goes to the barn and then does not tell me why he has to leave. There's no description of either.
Right. The only thing that scene really did was give him a name to say, oh yeah, I asked him if he could help out from now on. And now in every version of Superman, someone in Kansas mentions that guy's name as one of their neighbors to fill out, do the world building. That's pretty much it.
The one thing when he's all right, he's leaving, and I thought, okay, well, the dog can't help around the farm very much, so You're just leaving this lady with literally no one else to help around the farm.
Well, he did mention the guy.
Well, I mean, he's going to come by and blah, blah, blah. But like,
Help out,
I feel like that's like, in my head, I'm doing the real world math where like somebody comes by for a few months and then you just sort of don't see him after that because it was too much. Probably not a lifelong commitment to till every field out there for you. And God, like looking at, she looks like she's like in her early 60s. Like this, yeah. Anyway, it just seemed reckless to leave her alone with no income. And then, a few minutes later in the film, or however long it was, when he gets to Metropolis, we dropped the whole like, will you send half my paycheck out there? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's sending half his paycheck out there. But, I have questions about this whole trip to the Fortress of Solitude, because then Jor-El, first of all, he sends the baby version of Clark off. Mm-hmm. And like while he's flying through space, he's teaching him all these things. And he's telling him all about all the things, who he is and Chinese things. He's it was one of the weird things that he brought up while
they're doing.
Yeah, he's doing like
these
galaxy.
These like learning tapes and shit like that. I think had started to be like a huge thing. They had learning vinyls before, but it was. I forget when that. You remember that fad though? Like, put on this tape and you'll learn Mandarin overnight.
Yes, I do. While you sleep, yeah.
Yeah,
but
I think that was well in effect when someone thought that doing that to the infant would do anything.
Yeah, so like I wanted the scene where he gets to the fortress and Jor-El is like
the ice waffle.
Where he's like, "Oh, do you remember the Chinese proverb I told you?" And he's like, "No, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Fuck, that didn't work." Well, I guess we're gonna spend 12 years, 12 of your Earth years, taking you through a hologram of the cosmos and explaining all of this fucking shit to you all over again because, damn it,
the
tapes
didn't
work.
You remember what? The thing on the ship, the what on the ship? There were tapes on the ship. My first memories are from the farm. I don't even remember the ship. They showed me the ship later.
There was a
what
ship?
Are you talking
What
about?
are you talking about? Yeah. I
do not remember crashing.
I played all of this for you.
Yeah.
All right, fine. So you're telling me that he was like in this hologram.
If there was a fly on that ship accidentally, it got more out of it than this.
He was like in this hologram of Krypton, or hologram of seeing Krypton and going through the cosmos, learning all this shit for 12 years. And at no point did Jor-El go, "Oh, well, it's coming up upon Thanksgiving in your time. So, have a good holiday break. Go see your mother." Mm-hmm. Like, fuck, dude. Like, is he just gone for 12 years, or did like they take breaks? Did he like go home and be like, "Hey, Ma, well, God, I've learned so much stuff. Apparently there's this planet out there, called Thanagar. I don't know." Because he's telling them all about the whatever it was, 23 known galaxies or whatever the hell he said.
Right.
Or was he just gone for 12 years? And she was like, "Well, I don't know. He went off somewhere. I guess he's dead." I mean, that's some depression level stuff, That's like, oh yeah, that's what we did back then. Is we would wake up, we'd go and look at our boy, would be out in the field, and we'd be like, "It's time."
Yeah.
"Hey boy, what you standing out here in the field all morning for?" Because like she like gets up and he's standing out in the field, and it's like breaking dawn, and then like she comes out there around noon. She's like, "All right, you just gotta stand out in this fucking field all day. What you doing, boy? Is it time? It's time." "Oh,
yeah.
I'll be damned. Sorry, it's
I
time."
made breakfast and everything. Got to be about lunch. I realized you were still out here.
Yeah, I was like, I know that look.
Mm-hmm.
That middle distance field look.
Yeah, I know that existential stare anywhere.
He's got the rambles.
Yeah, I've talked Pa out of that many a time.
Got to be rambling on now. Young men get a bit of restlessness in.
Yeah. He had that look in his eyes when you landed. That's why I was fighting so hard to keep you.
Like, well, time to be getting on, Ma. I'll see you never.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't buy it. I think he had to have come back at some point, but we didn't get that. The movie very much made it seem like he was gone for 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no sense of time there. I mean, at least that journey, I don't know, at least that had like an idea of skipped time in a way that made sense. And they actually skipped the time. I'm still a little bit mad about just the spaceship journey in general, that first one. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it had to be there. It had a couple of really neat camera effects. I do genuinely kind of feel like the reason it got done. Like there was a lot of focus on some stuff that went really well, like the flying. Like I see why you tagged this thing with like, you'll believe a man can fly, because it was probably the most believable thing. I mean, not probably. It was incredibly believable for its time. Looked great.
Yeah. We're not doing just side
that's what
shots
you
of him on a green screen cart. You know, we're not seeing him turn into a cartoon like in the Kirk Allen shit. Like,
there's some serious blend of practical and visual here that was really, really innovative. It was very cool.
They tried
for what
some
it
things,
is.
yeah.
They really did. And they tried a lot of things with all these like high contrasts, you know, kind of blade in. I mean, this was a little bit boring psychedelia, frankly. But like for what it is in terms of psychedelia, it was a decade beyond or late and not doing really anything all that interesting. But it just mostly didn't have to be there. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that went well, they spent all that time on that and did really well on that. And then there's a reason it's not like the tagline wasn't Superman, the story of Superman. Because there is none, because that is not here. It's not a content-full film. It's a film of like vignettes where you see a story accidentally kind of happen and some really cool visual things happen. But like, it doesn't have an overarching thing. There's like whole chunks that could go away and it would still tell what little story's here.
Because the story does not really begin until he gets to Metropolis.
Hour and a half? Yeah.
And the movie, and then it really only happens because he does that stupid interview with Lois.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, part of him flying around in the air with her, he told her a bunch of other shit that she wound up publishing, because in the interview at the table, they were way too preoccupied with underwear and shit. Like, they weren't talking.
Oh, it was the thirstiest conversation.
I wouldn't have even told her I couldn't see through lead.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. He published most of his weaknesses for some reason. But
I don't know how,
or at least enough of them.
I don't know how Lex decided he could hear that frequency.
He doesn't. And there's no reason to think that the radioactive thing has any effect on him. There's some leaps in logic there. But, and I just clicked around to see what it is. And it's an hour and 2-ish into the movie where you actually see them show up at the bullpen here. But one of the big strengths of the movie, my God, these two are fantastic together. Like, as soon as they walked on, I forgot how bored I'd been for an hour. I was like, oh my God, this is immediately fun now.
You talking about Superman and Lex?
No, sorry. Margot and Chris here. Like, as soon as I saw Lois and Clark like properly interacting with each other, I was immediately like on board with the film again. Like, I definitely just had some spots where I was just very much bored. And yeah, they're just immediately charming.
Yeah, I think it was funny because I said when he became Superman,
which he's so good at.
Yeah, when we like get past the montage of Cosmos and he becomes Superman and flies out of the fortress, I looked at my wife. And
grabs that costume out of absolutely fuck all wear.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whatever. Yeah. I mean, it built an entire, a single crystal built an entire fortress just because he threw it into some ice.
Yeah. I mean, we're in you don't get an explanation sci-fi land hard at this point.
Absolutely. So at the point where he flies out, I look at Bethany, my wife, and I say, okay, so now's the point where you're going to be like, finally the movie's going to get good, or, oh my God, the movie's going to get terrible now. Because people do not, like, critics of the movie generally like, oh man, everything leading up to him becoming Superman was just, was great, you know, Americana, like, you know, sweeping epic. And then it just becomes a comic book movie. Or they go, oh man, it was so boring leading up to the part where he was finally Superman. I don't hear much in between. Personally.
I could see it because it is a major tone jerk. Well, I mean, and it's tone setting, all that. You're doing this whole 2001 thing beforehand, like for half of it, and then you just sort of see this 40-year-old in a wig.
I think it was the same cinematographer as 2001.
Yeah, that would make sense. But yeah, then there's the 40-year-old running with the train in a wig for a long time. That's just, by the way, he was entirely disconcerting. Everything with him was disconcerting. I don't know why. It was weird. That running scene alone is bizarre, uncanny valley stuff that felt like AI generated before its time.
Yeah, it does. It does feel like
it's strange. But it was just a series of, like I said, we were an hour in before I met Lex and was really like, oh, okay, this is someone I'm caring about that's going to be here for a minute, I guess. Because, I mean, Brando famously died. For the 10 minutes that I got to know him, he'd come and gone. I guess I was half compelled by his character. But yeah, it was just that I finally met people that were part of the story at the hour or so mark in. And these were some of them. That was more my camp of it.
Well, you know,
I'd forgotten he was even in the suit by the time I saw him doing Clark and Lois stuff.
Yeah. Which I am, famously on this show, known for not liking her version of Lois. So
It's not my favorite. She's very screeny.
Yeah. Yeah. She's kind of all over the place, chain smoking. I feel like they do, like, especially watching it now, watching this one now, I go, oh, they quirk her up a whole lot in the sequels.
Do they? Even more? I thought she was like 80% quirk here.
She's got shit. Oh, I mean, they make it worse. Like she's got like two scenes of her not knowing how to spell a thing here, and like in future sequels, it's just like she doesn't know how to spell anything. She's got to have her orange juice. She's, it's just like, oh my God, Lois, like you're so awful.
That's weird. I mean, there's like a hint that she's a good reporter here, but otherwise she's and they clearly get along. Like they have a chemistry that I think is like she's just more of a I don't know, an interesting person for him to be around than she is like the star reporter that Lois Lane sometimes is. I feel like it was, I mean, yeah, there were some jokes about her not being able to spell, but.
Yeah, but I did enjoy all the things that she couldn't spell, like how many P's in rapist?
Yeah.
How many S's in
Rapist,
massacre?
I guess. Yeah.
This is like, it's all just like horrendous things that she's writing about.
Yeah. And then here you go. It's the City Beat Summer story. I mean, there's like, they have respect for her in the bullpen. She's clearly got like the city beating a big deal. They just don't make a big meal out of how she's good at her job. They just sort of roughly let it sit there that she is. And then the rest of the film is just that she's incredibly into this guy in this weird red outfit or weird blue outfit. And then other than that, like she just sort of is dying a lot.
Yeah, she's always in trouble, which is, I did notice that, like looking at the trivia, it kind of like brought it up to me. Like they hit all of the things from the Adventures of Superman, like faster than a speeding bullet. They covered that. More powerful than a locomotive. They've covered that. Like all of them, they covered. Like can leap tall buildings in a single bound. Can even like the secondary ones that they added later on can change the course of mighty rivers. They hit every one of them in this film. Like those were all the action beats. It was just showcasing. Yes, even in this version, he does exactly what the other thing said in the opening.
Yeah,
I did kind of like that. That was fun.
It was. There wasn't. There's like it seems. I don't know. Was that a common thing? I don't know. Well, they didn't really have. I mean, a superhero movie wasn't a common thing, so I don't know how that was going to work. It definitely is now a common thing for there to be, like I said, just a little series of vignettes before. Like, oh, he's got his powers now. Let's watch him save 3 or 4 randos.
Yeah.
It's been in everything since this. I don't know if it was a thing before or not.
Here was one of my sadistic favorite things in the movie. He saves the cat in the tree. The little girl
Pretty sure I know where you're going with this.
Little girl runs in and goes, "Mommy, mommy,
Pause
man."
the film. Pause the film. Pretty sure I wrote down the time. Pretty sure I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
"Oh, mommy, mommy, man, saved the cat out of the tree. He just flew away." And she's like, I don't know what she said. Like, "You liar! I told you to stop lying."
The drunk mom.
It's like cuts
And then
right
she
after
pops her fucking child.
It just cuts right after you hear the pop.
She backhands the girl. I paused the movie. I wrote down the time. In case you're watching, there's 1 hour and 7 and 45 left. Because when you're watching on Max, it shows you what's left. If anyone wants to go verify our research here. Yes. Like she walks in happy with her cat and what sounds like drunk moms. And they're like, "You lying cunt," and fucking backhands the bitch. And like, I guess Superman just flies away.
Yeah. Like he just flies away. And then she's like, "Mommy, mommy." Pap, you liar. Like it cuts immediately after the slap. Like, and that was absolutely a humor beat.
Yes. Yeah. Like, oh God, I don't understand that.
And like,
it was a little different later. There's a moment where Tessmacher says something like, at the risk of being smacked around or whatever. So what? That one felt like it was just more of that one didn't feel like a domestic violence situation so much as just like a gallows humor about like, yeah, you're really verbally abusive kind of thing. It felt way more collegiate than the 14-year-old with the cat getting slapped in the face.
Yeah,
like,
the little kid with getting slapped. We had to pause it. We had to pause it because we were laughing so hard. You paused it too?
Cool.
Yeah, okay. We paused it just to laugh because we were both like, "That is some Family Guy shit." That is like that's a Family Guy bit that they would have done to point out like what would have really happened in the 70s if a kid.
I'm sad that I wasn't there with y'all because I wanted to do something. I paused it and didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, I should stop. Should I call somebody? I didn't know what to do with myself. I looked around the room like I was like there was supposed to be someone here with me that I could go like, "You saw that, right? You heard that, right?"
Yeah. No, we just laughed and laughed.
I meant to look. Let me see. I kind of want to. I'm going to bounce around in the movie.
This is such a dark humor beat, man.
It really is.
But I also feel like that's something that someone would have done in the 70s. if their kid was like, hey, there's a man flew out of the sky and saved my cat.
It's a weird scene anyway. There was a moment right before that where like he's flying in and it shows the cat for a second. And just the way it zooms in on the cat, I was like, oh my God, he's going to crush this cat.
The cat looks terrified.
And the camera's horror camera tricks, to be sure. I thought he was about to accidentally have to explain
that shit
like,
was...
well, with my density, I accidentally crushed your cat. I'm so sorry, little girl.
That was a Sam Raimi horror shot before Sam Raimi was doing his thing.
It really was. I'm going to turn on captions. I want to see if they actually, I want to see the subtitles, if they have it in there about the smacking sound. We're right at the cat now. Goodbye, Frisky. So long now. I'm off. Good luck. Hope you don't get abused by your drunk mom. I can hear her in there fucking complaining about her boss right now. Oh, mommy. Frisky was stuck in the tree. This man swooped out of the sky and gave him to me. Female number 3. Haven't I told you to stop telling lies? No. They don't have it in the official. It goes next to thunder rumbling.
Oh, Lord.
At Metropolis. So I told my wife about that later. I was like, I'm just fascinated. Someone did Foley for this. They added it.
Yeah.
Someone thought about it. A department was engaged to accomplish the task of getting it done.
Uh-huh.
And all of that thought went into it. And somebody, and in the end, they were like, yeah, that's perfect. Put it in there. Baffling.
I mean, I'd probably still do it.
Maybe. I don't.
It's a funny bit.
It's a funny enough bit, but you can't have Superman borderline earshot for a normal human away from the kid getting slapped and still get away with that. You just have to, I have to have an in-house, like Superman just has to double back and be like, whoop, I see that was an issue, my bad, and take her somewhere.
Yeah.
Then you can do it.
Yeah. You have to like cut away to Clark going, ooh. And then you see him in the phone booth going, hello, DHR.
Yeah. Like that's the Family Guy bit I want to see is them revisit this scene and just, like, yeah, he flew away and found a phone booth later. By the way, the phone booth gag cracked me up. He's looking for a phone booth, but it's one of those half-sized ones, the ones that you'd see more like outside of a gas station.
Yeah.
Back in the last gasps of payphones.
Yeah, because in those days, the phone booths had become so much smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an in-house joke in 1978 about how that had become slightly obsolete.
Mm-hmm. I dug that too.
Here we are watching it at this point.
I was very happy with that. I had not remembered that. By the way, when we were talking about the Family Guy, it reminded me of that bit from where they did the Back to the Future thing where George McFly's like, what the fuck, Lorraine? You think I don't understand? I don't realize that our son looks like that guy that you dated back in high school? Mm-hmm. When'd you fuck Marty? Yeah.
I forgot about that too.
Anyway, but yeah, even I don't know, man. There were lots of things in this movie I needed clarification on, like when he goes through the whole thing where he's like saving the town, he's stopping the dam, he's doing all this shit, and Lois is at the time dying. Then he has his freak out, and Jor-El has said it like 15 times, do not fuck with human history.
Right.
And he's just like, fuck you, old man. You don't know. I'm
gonna do it. Yeah.
And he flies and he speeds around the earth. Has to be going light speed, but whatever. He would completely kill everything on the planet if he did what they visually show is
just
happening.
Would have. I can't even begin to start on it.
So he goes back in time, and then he saves...
Like a flat Earth would make more sense than what I just saw.
Yeah. So are we to believe that there's the same Superman as in the past, saving all of those things, while a second Superman is now saving Lois, or did because they never show him stop the missile or the earthquake that... I don't know what happened.
That kills...
I have no idea what happened.
Hackensack or whatever it's called. By the way, what the hell did that city do to these filmmakers?
I know. Well, I don't think it was the intention, because they had that whole bit. That was another thing that was unclear.
Like we were going to film something there. They didn't give us a cat tax credit. So,
well, they had a whole bit where Lex had Otis go and change the coordinates on one of the missiles.
Right. Poorly.
And Otis did it wrong.
Right. So another scene where we did not have to do that, but okay.
Yeah, we never saw them go back and change that. So,
the code?
Yeah, right. We didn't.
No, Tessmacher...
There were two missiles.
Okay, he changes it. So I thought the whole second scene was an excuse to get Tessmacher in a skimpy outfit with the jokes with the soldiers.
Well, she was part of the first scene like that, and then she was the one that changed it in the second one. But there were two different missiles that they had to change the coordinates for, I thought. Or maybe the first one... Okay, so the first missile that they changed was supposed to be going someplace other than Hackensack, I think. Because the second one that was successful was supposed to hit that fault line in California.
Yeah. So he had one going to the fault line. The whole plan was, I believe I have this right. One has to go to the fault line. That's the real payload. He really wants that one to hit because that's where you get, Otisburg.
Right.
And then even if you wanted to stop that, he's still going to punish you because you got Hackensack, New Jersey, that's just going to die on the other side of the country. So, like, you're going to have to pick one.
Yeah.
And you might as well, I think the idea was you might as well pick the city that's actually populated with a bunch of innocent folk. I chose seemingly out of nowhere. Although I guess there's got to be a backstory for why you'd pick some random city. But I guess that was the idea. Like, you have to, definitely a populated city over here and an arid desert over here that I guess just happens to have two people you want or you care about in it. I do not know why they're there.
Right. Well,
it is not clear to me why Jimmy or Lois is out.
Well, they were there because they were interviewing that Native American man who sold all of that land to Lex Luthor, because Lois was doing a story on this crazy billionaire or millionaire or whatever who was just running around buying up useless land.
Useless land. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's why
she just happens to be. All right. So I felt like that one was going to have an explanation. All right. So she's chasing this story. He is the one, by the way, buying buying the stuff.
Lex is the one.
So Lois, for some reason, is the one who ends up chasing this beat half a country away. And we have a rather wide country.
But what's not clear is where Lex originally intended that first missile to go, because he gives a coordinate. Otis puts it in wrong, and that has to be the one that's going to Hackensack. So I guess Lex thought about the thing and went, oh, okay, well, it's not going wherever I wanted it to go. It's going to go in Hackensack. Okay. Well, that'll work, I guess.
I had that. Oh, maybe I had that wrong, or I might have missed it. I thought he had them. I thought they just missed one because Otis was a dumbass, and then Tessmacher pulls some chicanery and fixes that, and then they're back on track with just it being you have to. I know the point of them was that we're going to send him in opposite directions. You can't be everywhere at once.
Right. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in this. Maybe I'm not remembering an extended scene or something correctly. Now I did laugh, and my wife is now headcanoned that Larry Hagman's major, who performs mouth to mouth on Miss Tessmacher. She's headcanon that it's the same character from I Dream of Jeannie. Hagman's character from I Dream of Jeannie.
I'd forgotten that's. He did look familiar.
He's like, about face.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not. No, I never asked my men to do something I wouldn't be willing to do myself. You son of a bitch.
I was.
Oh God! And like, oh my God!
It's a funny scene, but like, damn,
it is.
There are a couple scenes in here that you could tell they really wanted to do this joke, and otherwise it didn't have to be there.
Right. Like perfect example of that. Tessmacher taking the kryptonite off of Superman so he can go save her mother. Then before she does it, she kisses him. Takes a few seconds to kiss him,
and then he says.
And then he's like, why did you kiss me before you took the thing? And she's like, because I didn't think you'd let me after. Well, that's frankly rapey behavior.
It was. I mean, when he asked that, I was thank you. I was wondering myself.
Yeah.
Now it did, this one cracked me up too, because right after that, she has this moment where they have a little moment, I guess. And she has the like, why can't I fall for the nice guys kind of thing. And I don't know if that's a trope before or after this, but she does that. And then Superman just sort of like very gently sort of holds her and they have a moment. And he smiles very comfortingly and then does nothing else. Just absolutely nothing else. Not one helpful piece of advice. It's as though he looks at her and goes, yeah, that's going to happen. Anyway.
No, to me, it was like he just caressed her face, and like looked at her like, oh, because you're a dumb bitch.
It was conciliatory, and then he moved on. He did not help her at all with this.
Yeah.
But now that you lay it out there, though, he might be thinking like, he's just quietly saying, because you're the kind of dumb bitch that just is a bit rapey and like kissed me when you're weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't say that out loud.
Yeah, there's a missile heading straight for your mother's hometown, and you decided to hold off for a minute and kiss me. Because you're a selfish bitch.
Hold on. This one, I had a question mark by this. I wrote down a very brief version of the conversation. So right before that, he's swimming, which, sidebar, I think if I had to bet what his least favorite day of filming was probably that.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I know there was some harness work, but like,
yeah.
You ever just tried to swim? Like, to see if you could like keep your face right there just for fun, like for a couple seconds, just to experiment? Because you quickly swallow a bunch of water and it's miserable.
Yeah. That's all of my swimming experiences, actually.
Yeah. Or it's like the if you fuck up and fall asleep in the bath, that's the first feeling right there. It's better than not having a feeling. But right before she comes for him, she has this moment where he says like, "Will you let innocent people die?" Something like that. She goes, "Maybe." And then he's like, "Well, please help." And then she goes straight to, "Okay, but only if you help my mom first." She goes from, "Are you just going to let everyone die?" And like, "I'm going to do it a little bit like her." Maybe. And it's not even like, you know what? That's sad. I even did it indignantly. Like it has something to do with the next line. It doesn't. It just doesn't. She just, I don't know what she's doing there. It's a weird line. It's a weird set of dialogue.
Yeah.
But I did realize after that, another one of those things where I would see something in this movie and realize there's moments in Man of Steel, or in this case BVS, where like later when Amy Adams throws the spear away, like I think me and you have bitched about there were probably more effective ways to get that out of the picture, but I guess maybe it was a nod as well. Or it could have been maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Maybe. I'm sure it was.
Got to have him in a pool of water and
throw it, and then it goes down a drain. Yeah.
Throw it and it goes down a drain. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what I was saying though is like I don't know what the line of events are now in the new universe, because he rewrote the universe. Like, does him saving Lois and lingering around and talking to her and Jimmy mean that now he can stop the other missile? So,
I just figured it went back to before the missiles got launched. No, I mean, he can't. Like, she was there. What time must it be?
Yeah, she already said
she's out in the desert.
She already said that. Where were you when I needed you? Blah blah blah. And he's like, "Well, I've been pretty busy. Doing what?" Like, so you came back.
Something was like 30 minutes before. I feel like he's already got a fair amount of this in. Yeah, I don't know where he catches Lex in this situation.
Yeah.
What he's rewound to exactly.
I don't know, but apparently the missile has hit, and he was underground packing the damn fault again. And then at some point I guess that means that version of him could go and stop the other missile in Hackensack and then come and save her. But I don't know.
Well, you're right. He does get he kind of does like a victory lap before he realizes she's dying, and only gets there moments later, right? So he only needed to buy himself a few seconds. If
he bought himself
a lot to do again.
He comes back before the car even starts even before like the crack starts coming along the road.
I know. I'm just saying if he bought himself another go, maybe he did some other stuff. But I just got the feeling he went back to before they launched somehow. But then I don't know what she's doing in the desert at the same time.
Well, why? Yeah, why is she being like, the gas station just blew up because there was an earthquake?
Yeah,
no, that only happened because the first missile hit.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense to me.
Like the only way this works is if he just speed ran like Mario in 11 minutes level speed ran the entire thing, given a second shot at it, and still gets to her in time to smirk about it. You know.
Yeah.
We are giving that way more thought than they did.
I know it. and what's more is I know that they were fixing a thing because the whole, like I said, the whole flying around the earth backwards, that was not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Hackensack missile was supposed to have maybe that was not so, maybe it was supposed to have gone to Hackensack and instead it flew into space or something. I thought I read that Superman pushed it into space, and then that's when it hit the Kryptonian people.
Maybe they just cut him. Maybe they thought they had to cut that second missile because it was going to be connected to that, and that was kind of an error in their continuity judgment there. Overstepped when they didn't have to. I mean, look, on the bright side here, the stuff that they did well was really well done. Like, the shots of him under the earth when he's rebuilding that mantle look fantastic. I genuinely think with like some cleaning up, a lot of them would hold up today. Like, because they were kind of shot in this super close up version that like it got a lot of the intensity of being under the mantle. Like, I just thought it was a gorgeous, well done scene. Just fantastic. For the same reason though, Lois being buried, absolute nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
they really killed it on those close-ups. Like the camera work on that killed the fucking sense of urgency. It was beautiful. San Francisco Bridge, another highlight. Everything regarding that bridge, even the rescue on it, looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
A lot of it would hold up today without effects, would hold up right now, would be fine.
Yeah, everything's snapping. The giant cords snapping and crashing into that was beautiful. That gave me like a little mini panic attack just thinking about it.
Yeah. It was incredibly well done. The missile chase, doing a lot of combination of like sped up visuals and a lot of overlay kind of stuff, like stuff that's so primitive that I even know what those terms are. Mm-hmm. But they did a wonderful job with it. This in 1978, watching this one, genuinely some parts of this must have been like grab the edge of your seat. You've never gotten to see something this thrilling on a screen before. Mm-hmm. I do absolutely understand why people sat for this long and watched the movie at the time.
Yeah.
I say that. I understand the whole 2.5 as a gestalt. The first hour is oof.
Well, I do. I mean, the first hour is like any standard movie for audiences back then, I'd say. And look, I'm fine with that. Like, dude, one of my favorite movies of all time is Cool Hand Luke. And about half of that movie is just slow. Like really, really long panning shots of the countryside. Yeah. With a sunset. Yeah. And a soundtrack. That's it. Like, I am okay with that. I'm fine with slow pace.
The most haunting scene in that movie from my memory is genuinely just several minutes of him with the guitar, I think. I don't think that's quick or anything, but like it
I wouldn't say several, but it was one of the most poignant scenes.
It is a poignant scene.
Just is we're talking about Cool Hand Luke. It was when he's been informed that his mother's passed away of lung cancer, and
he can't go.
And he can't. He's not allowed to go to her funeral, and he walks back into his little barracks with his guitar and sings "Plastic Jesus," a silly song. But a song that very much seemed to be in line with the kind of relationship he was shown to have with his mother.
Yeah. It's a great piece of movie making right there.
As he just like slowly cries, like, oh my God, I want to cry.
The performance is
thinking about
absolutely killer. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they take him and put him in the hole so that he won't try to escape and go to her funeral.
Of course.
Fucked up.
Yeah. To pull you directly out of any kind of sense of respectability and maudlinness, I found that line. Doesn't it give you a shudder of electricity to be in a room with me?
It always does. Son of a bitch.
That like I loved a lot of Luthor's lines. That one, he seems like he's enjoying himself the most, maybe there. Mm-hmm. Where he's like, I get to be just this arrogant, and he's also enjoying himself with the comedy beats, like the bit with the robe in the water. Mm-hmm. He's taking his time with the fact that he's putting this robe on. He knows where the punchline is at the end of the scene. He milks that. It's just beautifully done.
Yeah. All right. I would be remiss to not completely shit on this scene. My least favorite thing in this entire movie. Can you read my mind?
Okay, I've got several questions.
Fuck.
That weird poetry scene. I don't know what that is. A weird music video for a poem. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to do with it. It's following. Every time they've otherwise met on the roof, it's glorious. That is like their first. She is. Man, does she want to fuck this man? Mm-hmm. Like how big? How tall? Like, do you eat? Like, she just. It's pretty good. And then you think that's bad, and then later she's like, "Can you see my underwear?" I wondered though if this was like when you remember because we just did Batman Forever very 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 recently ourselves. Mm-hmm. Did that become a trope? Is to make everyone to make them just that damn thirsty every time they see the person in costume the first time or something?
Well, in Batman '89, Vicky seemed like she was scared, appropriately so.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah, like when he shows up and takes her to the Batcave, and he's drugged her or whatever, so she can't see it or something. And she's
Keaton, yeah.
Like '89 Batman, yeah.
I'm thinking like Kilmer.
No. But like
the Kilmer one
absolutely
is incredibly like that. Yeah,
absolutely. Like fucking Catwoman was like dominatrix thirsty. Like there's a violence to it.
It's like they just wanted to prove the fucking age of seduction of innocence dude right. He's not Wernstrom because that's a Futurama villain. But Wortham?
Okay. You talking about seduction
Comic
of the innocent guy?
asshole? Yeah, that asshole.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Wortham, yeah.
Yeah. Couple jokes in there. Well, I mean, all right, so maybe the biggest fail, though, in the entire movie as far as the just choices is, yeah, like you said, or maybe you didn't mention this. Anyway, she falls during that scene. She finally lets go of his fingers and falls. The fuck is she doing horizontal to him the entire fucking scene? I can't concentrate on how much I hate the poem happening because of how they're flying. I don't want any of the scene.
I think the point of that, and I was okay with that because it's like they seem to be like up high and they've got like a momentum going. If you get enough momentum going, they can
maybe
you can stretch out and like as long as you're connected, like there's like there's enough wind underneath you, you're gonna stay horizontal.
I don't think she's creating drag at these levels, but yeah, I mean, like no. I'll give you the rough sense that I'm not thinking about them having momentum in my imagination at all. I'll throw that into the headcanon. It does take the edge off. But
yeah, you've got wind underneath. She's got wind underneath her.
Yeah.
To keep her up, but he's still holding on to her because as soon as she lets go, she falls.
Yeah. That is oddly portrayed, but okay. I'll let it rest on that one.
Yeah, I think the idea there was that he made her feel like she could fly. And she's just getting a little more free and a little more free and a little more free. And almost like she's wondering, did he imbue me with these powers? Or did he completely just make her forget herself? All that was okay, I guess. Like I could have done without it.
Can you read my mind? I don't.
Yeah, she's got a whole poem. And I hate it. I hate it all.
It's bad. I wondered after, again, putting too much thought into it, I wondered if they were doing a whole internal dialogue thing because maybe they're flying, like you said. Loud, but that seems like too thoughtful. Does not seem like it would be considered in this situation.
And I have never met anyone that this scene worked for that I know of. Like when I was a little kid and I saw that scene, I went, ugh, this is gross. This is stupid. And then my little sister at some point watched this movie with me and we got to that point and she was just like, puke. And I was like, right? She was like, this is dumb. I'm like, yeah, yeah, it is. I don't know. Like, I know Richard Donner wrote it. He wrote that little poem, but this is, I hate that scene so much.
It's like, I don't know. I don't want to judge it on its literary merits. I'm sure I could write much worse poetry than what was on there. But man,
I don't think I'm capable.
It didn't have to be here. I feel like even without being mean, I can just say there's absolutely no fucking reason for that.
No, I loathe that scene. I would love to do an edit of the movie where it just didn't exist.
Yeah, just a 2 hour and 33-ish minute cut, because that I think was 5 minutes. At some point, my notes say, quote, why is this scene still happening?
Yeah, and I don't mind there being like some...
That's right after, why is there a poem?
I don't mind them flying around and doing like a quick montage of that, but I probably would cut the bit where she's, I don't know. I don't know what I would do, but I know I would cut that poem.
Yeah.
That is absolutely imperative. That poem would go.
Oh, speaking of the kind of mild interview where they meet earlier, he sits down in this cape. Something that's I want to stop and point out with just how fucking good he is. His freak out, as you called it earlier. I hated that scene. I don't like. That didn't hit for me. Like I don't like the way it's acted. It goes on too long. That's my ongoing complaint with this movie is just everything could have been halved. But like, didn't love that. But every other fucking thing and every other frame in this is he's so incredibly good at being Clark, so incredibly good at being confident when he's Superman. And the transition, he does that. He does the transition so that you can see him making the decision to be, either one, and then the moment. It's wonderful. But like when he sits down in particular, like I'd paused the scene around that area, and the wife came through, and I kind of asked her, like, "Hey, just my ongoing theory right now is basically that a couple scenes plus he's so handsome that they thought that he could sell this movie, right?" And it's just like, yeah, he's incredibly handsome, but like he eats up the screen as far as that goes. And they make a meal of letting him sit there and being in shape and all that. Cool. Make you money. But he's so fucking confident. Like there is even the way he sits down at that table, like he sits down with this, like, this man fucks attitude that I fucking love in this cape. He is in what is, I think, pretty objectively a silly costume. Mm-hmm. It's on point. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done any different. They did exactly what they should have done. They should have made it a silly costume. I think the same way Gunn's about to do now. Like it should be out of touch and schoolboyish, you know?
Yeah.
But which they did a wonderful job of it here, and he fits it perfectly, and he looks great in it. But he just walks around like he's supposed to fucking be in it, and he sells you on that. I think that's an underrated quality of like I forgot how much I love that part of this.
Yeah.
It should be dumber than it is, but damn it, he doesn't let you get there with it.
Yeah, it's like a Wes Anderson bit. It's like they're all playing it very straight.
Yeah. And I do know from what I know of the behind the scenes that was a very deliberate choice he made. Was I'm going to play this straight, and not in the Adam West. I'm going to play it straight so the joke's better sense. He really wanted to try to do that. Mm-hmm. Try to do that job in that costume on screen.
I mean, they did make a point of pointing it out, and one of the most dated bits of the film where the pimp says, "Say, Jim, woo, that's a bad outfit."
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Fucking jive, fucking turkey sitting outside. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just like, "Hello, sir."
Yeah. How are you, man?
Oh my God. Reeve does a great job being Kent and Superman separately. Like he has a different voice as Superman. He's more high pitched and nasally as Clark. They part their hair on different sides, like he hunches as Clark.
You see him change how he holds himself, especially in one scene. They really let it
where he's contemplating telling Lois.
Yeah, and you watch him make that decision with his body. It's so good. It's so fucking good. I don't know where in the process of us having an on-screen Superman we would have gotten that done so well short of him, because it is in the books. Like there's a content farm worth of stuff in there to get it right. Somebody was going to get that right eventually, is my theory. But there was no need to. He got it, and everything past that will just be someone doing it as good as he did or not. Mm-hmm. One of the most impressive pieces of it.
I happened upon a reel on Facebook earlier this week, and the first part of the reel was a girl who was, I don't know, maybe 170 pounds, maybe, I would guess. And the point was she was showing her before and after. And the after, she had put on a considerable amount of bulk as far as muscle, but had lost a lot of her fat. And like people in the comments are just like, these are not the same people. These are not the same people. This is bullshit. Like, and they're like measuring out eyebrows and like,
oh, they start drawing trapezoids and just triangles and shit.
Yeah. Like just trying to be like, no, this is this and this. Like you can't, no, that's not the same person. And then like,
I love that for getting someone's height because they fucked up and took a picture near a brick wall, but it'd be devastating somewhere else. Someone
responded, "Finally, I find no one seeing Clark Kent as Superman believable. Like, it makes sense. I mean, Clark Kent and Superman, totally the same person. How can they not? No one on screen, no one can tell that Clark Kent is Superman. No, it makes sense. It makes sense now.
It does. People see faces a lot more in context than you think they do. I mean, if you actually have apragnosia, that one will really fuck you up. Like if you have actual face blindness, it's funny. There's a story I was reading about recently where there's a couple that part of the fun is the wife has face blindness. So like she's getting better at understanding, at being able to watch movies because like as the movie progresses and costumes change, she can't tell where the lead character is. She just can't follow the movie because the costumes change and the context changes per scene as prescribed by having been a movie. But yeah, you actually do use context way more than you think you do.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. And I've told this story on the show before, but I think somewhat recently. Several years ago, I went on a cruise and ill-advisedly got drunk the first few nights and did a lot of karaoke.
The great international blackout.
Became something of a celebrity on the ship, at least to the point where I couldn't go out in public on the ship without people coming up to me Hey, my dingling. Yes, I did Chuck Berry's My Dingling. Fuck you. It was a lot of fun at the time. Now, to combat this, because I was honestly just sick of it, I went to my little cabin and shaved off my goatee. I just had like a little goatee. That's all it was. I just shaved off the goatee. No one approached me for the rest of the trip. It was like half the week, everyone was just like knocking down my door, bugging me. Hey, it's that guy. He's a lot of fun. Yuck, yuck, yuck. And then like all of a sudden they're like, I don't know that guy. I even had one person talking to me about like, oh yeah, I don't know what happened to that guy that was with them. And he was a lot of fun. He was always doing karaoke. Yeah, I don't know. You sure he was with them? You know?
Yeah.
So I believe it, but it is funny to.
I mean, I probably accidentally do make this easier for people that are hard on that. For people that this is a problem for, being that I wear the same outfit like 90% of the time.
Oh yeah.
I'm in one hoodie until it breaks, one set of jeans until they break, and one set of shoes until they break. I will change everything else, and the rest of it is just I get up and assign myself that clothing every day and leave. So it can't be that hard for me.
Yeah.
And my faces look the same for 10 years.
My problem is like I'll be walking through the living room and I'll go, "Hey, Jason." No, that's Will Forte.
Yeah. Yeah. We've all been there. I have mirrors too.
Yeah.
Hey, drunk Will Forte. No, different one.
Oh man.
Can I complain about a couple things in the middle?
Absolutely, you can.
I have. Let me swipe out a couple notes here, but I'll just
can't carry this whole thing. Jesus Christ!
I'll try to get through them briefly. But it really is during the saving things segment.
Saving things segment.
Yeah. Yeah. Like okay. Yeah. He's done. By the way, another note about just how good he is. In that little thing, he says like he pulls out the truth, justice, and the American way line. But even then, they cut back to him, and he has a brief. I never lie.
You lie about your identity every fucking day.
I mean, yeah, there's that. But he just says all of that with such presence. Like I half believe that this is the kind of guy that like you do get the sense that this is a guy that if he shows up in an emergency and just says, "Hey, listen to me," and you're going to make it out. I kind of am.
Yeah.
People tend to listen to tall dudes anyway, and he's 6'4". But like, yeah, he's saying things very well. Yeah, I'd written down stuff about like the flying looks so good, and then I had a whole thing about Frisky and wrote down like poor Frisky's parent. Just a couple picky things, but like it really, I think it was just the one really. So there's like there's a whole scene with the pilots. Like the pilots are in the Air Force One, I guess it is. Why are there 8 fucking pilots on that plane? I went back and paused. I think there really are 8. It is a lot of people in there. Like it's a scrum of pilots.
Scrum.
It's like a rugby pile, yes.
I don't know. I thought there were at least 4 generally, but
I think 4 makes a lot more sense. I was just seeing a ton of them, but
it was Air Force One, so some of them may have been security.
I don't know if they have security pilots, but
I don't know. They might have, just extra. What I mean is like extra, like security pilots.
Oh yeah, just redundancy pilots.
Yeah, like you have a heart attack and you have a blowout in your pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That one bothered me. Actually, most of my notes actually were for after the flying, because a lot of my notes have revolved around the girl that was slapped. Anyway, there's some headlines that come after. This one really cracked me up. There's like, they do that scene where you flop the papers down afterward and show off all the stuff that like, all right, so wait, no, it's actually on that scene. It happens to be. So first one is look at flies or whatever. There's blue bomb buzzes. Metropolis is one, and there's just pictures. The second one cracks me up. Look, Ma, no wires.
Look, Ma, no wires. Yes, absolutely. That's the only one I remember.
In my heart, I like to believe that was written by the effects team. They just threw it in themselves for a little joke.
Now look at this. Air Force One, in addition to the president, staff, and flight crew, a VC-25A can carry 102 guests in typical domestic business class seats. The backup VC-25 typically flies with 14 crew, 2 pilots, 6 flight crew, 2 cooks, and 4 flight attendants. Now, I don't know where all those fuckers sit.
Yeah, 2
that's
pilots.
A lot of people.
2 pilots. There were, hold on.
It did,
I got the scene.
But where did the 14 crew
Five.
sit?
I think there are 5 pilots in that. I'm counting 5 skulls.
But why? Where are the 14 crew?
Well, usually crew
Sitting.
involves,
Because that's not because it's the flight crew. Those are the flight attendants and shit.
yeah, like that's going to be everybody from front to tail. And then I assume that includes like one marshal these days. I may not include a marshal these days. Probably a separate department. You know what? Actually, I've never thought about it. There's just attendants and pilots. That's all that's on a flight, right? Like it's not like a maintenance guy hanging out in the bay in case there might be in an Air Force One. I don't know, but
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, there's 4 flight attendants, 6 flight crew.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's not the flight attendants. There's 6 flight crew, and 4 flight attendants. But then also 14 crew.
Yeah.
And 2 cooks.
By the way, that one dude's weirdly 80-yard speech is just creepy.
Yeah,
A movie that, by the way, had a lot of sync issues in general with the overdubs.
Yes.
Again,
Yes,
I know it was the 70s.
Yes. It's fine. It's fine. We know. We know it was the 70s and there were still some problems.
Yeah. I did like after when Perry's going around the room kind of haranguing all of his reporters with questions they should be asking and all that. Mm-hmm. He says like the single most important interview since God talked to Moses. And I was like, yeah, that was kind of the thesis when, the Siegel and Schuster sat down here, right? Like they were kind of writing an idealized character that was the most like this culmination of all the religious ideology they knew of anyway. Mm-hmm. Got the whole thesis in one little sidebar here.
Yeah, there was something in the trivia talking about how like they intended for Kal-El's ship to look like the Star of Bethlehem.
Oh, is that what that was supposed to be?
Encroaching upon Earth. But then
that makes sense.
Like,
it was otherwise just one of those weird choices.
Reading that, I laughed though, because I was like, yeah, but the imagery before it even got to visible in the day sky, because they did have them crash during the day, so it wasn't like John and Martha Kent were driving along and they looked up into the night sky and saw the Star of Bethlehem encroaching and went, what the hell? And then all of a sudden it crashes, because in the movie he crashes in the day, and even that is after he has gone through. They show it going through our atmosphere and like burning up into a tiny little ball.
Right.
So, like, okay. Well, that was a weird thing that y'all did, but all right.
I mean, I don't know the answer to that. Can you? Have
but also,
do you get day meteor? I mean, all right. So I know we get hit during the day. We get hit by stuff all the time.
Sure.
I don't know if you can see them without it being nighttime. I thought about it.
Right. I mean, that's probably why they had it in the movie as day, because otherwise, at the time, people in the 40s or 50s or whatever it was, I guess it would have been late 40s. People would have been like, "What the fuck was that falling?" You saw something fall and crash into that farm over there.
Gotta go chase it down. Yeah.
But I'd like to also point out, there's plenty of Christ imagery here in this movie. So again, there's a lot of people complain about this. Snyder wasn't the first one to do it. He was there since the beginning.
No, not doing it. I genuinely believe not doing it would be a misstep.
Well, the original concept was more of a Moses thing.
It is. I mean, it's very clearly based on Old Testament style references more than the very clear New Testament one that's going to be the very clear divination here between Jewish and not. But like, yeah, it's not so much a Jesus story as like a kind of a Moses-ish story. But
yeah, like I doubt a couple of Jews were sitting there who just escaped the Holocaust were sitting there going, you know what we should do?
A Jesus tale, yes.
We should do a whole bunch of just celebrate Christ.
Yeah, there's not. I don't want Easter getting on this by themselves. Yeah. I'm sure that wasn't the plan, but there's so much of the iconography that goes across that is the same. Like that story gets told one way or the other 1,000 times. And like the Moses line in particular, I think is a good way to hit back with it. But I think not having any religious savior iconography anywhere in a Jesus,
right.
Pick your flavor of it.
Right.
But that's what it's meant to be like a product of.
Right. And by the way, even though the paintings don't depict this, you look back at the original Greek and Hebrew, the Bible specifically says that the Last Supper happened in a giant crystal palace.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't. Don't believe me. It was a joke.
Floating robots served the last bread. Yes.
Right. Good Lord.
Yeah. I really should have looked up how much it was. 3 of them, really. It was Marlboro. God, I'll never get good at saying that, and thankfully they're not around as much as they used to be for me to keep practicing. But anyway,
Marlboro?
yeah, that cigarette. Because how do you normally say it? Marlboros.
Cowboy Killers.
Yeah, Marlboros. Yeah, it's pack of old Reds there, and then JVC Cheerios. I wanted to look up how much they paid to get in this film because they were prominently in it.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, Martha Kent walks into her kitchen and sits down that Cheerios box.
Next to it,
plain as fucking day.
Yeah, it is. They built the house around that fucking box of Cheerios, man.
Yeah, everything was dark, dude. Everything was dark in that house except for that box of Cheerios.
Yeah.
It's like, there's the window with the morning sun and Clark in the distance in the field, staring out, knowing that he has to leave. And here in the foreground, lit up like nobody's business, better than anything else in that room. A wholesome box of Cheerios.
Fucking 4-star General Mills there himself was controlling the lights, and keep dimming it. Keep dimming everything else.
Yeah. Like, they took that film and either dodged the hell out of that box of Cheerios or burned the hell out of everything around it.
Yeah.
To get that
contrast there.
To get that contrast. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
So, speaking of like really going for it on set, the camera, was there a need to have the shots of inside? I think he just wanted to put the camera in the helicopter and get the shots. I didn't see much purpose for them. I don't think we had to have the inside view of the camera or of the end of the helicopter there. Later, I guess we kind of use it, but it's more just the staged thing anyway. Like she's on one side, clearly the camera's on the other.
Yeah,
it's not from the innards.
No, I thought all that was great. Like I liked that. I liked the camera inside of the helicopter. It made it feel a little claustrophobic but then also terrifying as she's falling out of it.
The camera work inside it though. So they had this moment where they're approaching the building and the camera is already in the helicopter. And that is you have to do some stuff on set to make that happen. I mean, you've got to actually put the thing in there and let it go on a flight. Whereas
that's at least of their worries. In universe, they had to do a whole lot more to get that fucking Daily Planet ball off the roof.
Oh.
So that they could land the helicopter.
Yeah. Yeah. True. No. Actually, that's probably what happened. The helicopter thing went so poorly, they went, fuck it. Just put a giant ball up there so no one can ever do anything again.
Yeah.
From 1979 on, there's been a ball up there. Or no, there was a ball there before, and then someone put a helicopter there, and they put the helipad up there, and then now there's a ball again because they learned their fucking lesson about why there was a ball up there.
Yeah.
This weird little stint in 1977, 78 where they had a ball. They still talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like again, it wasn't necessary. They just seem to have had that, like they put that camera and let it go on a little, adventure in the helicopter for seemingly just the approach shot. I don't know what they were doing with it. It's fine. Okay. I'm glad you have that, I guess. It seemed like just camera work for camera work's sake, which is fine, I guess. Okay. On the other hand, you had like Jimmy Olsen early on in the film doing his thing when they were going around the bullpen where you can see the aperture adjustments at the bottom or whatever that is. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I'm using that word correctly at all. I think I've used it wrong actually, but still, you can see the adjustments. That was neat. I liked that. That was a fun little choice.
Yeah,
enjoyed it. I didn't
F1 ISO bullshit.
Yeah. Whatever they're doing there.
Whatever it is. Yeah, dude, I took photography. I have sold prints of my photography. I don't know what they're called.
Still have no fucking idea what all this is.
I fucking have so much problems with it. Like, I use them, but I don't ever remember what to call them. I just experiment with them until I find something I like.
That's fair.
I'm not a professional. I'm a hobbyist, but I can't remember that shit. I don't care enough. Plus, half of my fun is finding something that works and going, oh, hey, that looks good.
Yeah. You've pretty aptly described how I play the piano with all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not Clay Enos over here, like looking around, like licking a finger and sticking it up, going, well, based on the lighting I'm seeing, without using a light meter, I would say, no, we're not doing that.
We're gonna get in there and fill this thing out.
Oh man, What else we got, man? What else we got on this?
See. I'll just scoot through some notes here, see if there's anything super crazy. Super crazy.
Did you know that Christopher Reeve was his bodybuilding regime was supervised by David Prowse, who played Darth Vader in the original Star Wars?
I didn't. I do know from the book there was a that probably is in there somewhere.
Probably.
I got to finish that damn thing. I think I started that one 2 vacations ago, and got to pick it up and actually get through the back end of it. But in there was a lot of attention to that. Yeah, he went through a lot of effort to look this way, and then between films was a little bit mad they had to keep it up as much as he did. Mm-hmm. Because that's
plus he was a really active guy, and he still had a problem with it.
Very much so, but he was active in like the sense that he really used his body. He didn't try to go out and make it look this way the whole time. Like
right.
This even in 1978, this was looking a certain way. Like this was a little bit more bodybuilding than it was just being athletic. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of weird, man. We live in a different landscape now. Like our average, let's say, basketball player is so athletic and trimmed now just by virtue of doing that sport the way they do it these days, that they look more like a model than anybody in the late 70s would if they were just supposed to be on screen and playing someone that was intentionally attractive. Like our average football player now, you know what, British or American interpretation of that term, pick one, doesn't matter, looks way better than the average, celebrity in the 1960s something. Mm-hmm. What you can do with your body in a lifetime has just changed drastically.
Yeah. Did you ever see that Family Guy bit where they were, sorry, this keeps going back to Family Guy. There's a Family Guy bit where it's like Peter at the inception of basketball back in the old days, just a bunch of white guys, like flabby white guys playing basketball. And then like the black janitor who's like really built and really tall goes, "Hey, that looks like fun. Can I play?" And they all just like look at each other and Peter goes, "Not yet."
Yeah, that's yeah.
As it was when you look back at like old athletics.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like not very built white guys just kind of schlubbing around. And going like, "Oh man, look at that. He was a great athlete, Babe Ruth there." Yeah. Yeah, we called him Tubbs.
Yeah. But it's like they're playing at playing almost more than anything. Like they've got a little boys club of select people who are able to do this. And the moment you actually open the floodgates to real people to come in to do this, it gets super colorful, super trained real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, damn it, we're going to have to step it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm still looking through my notes to see if there's anything like just outstanding. It's 2 pages of notes. I just kept writing down like, and we went through a ton of it. There's just a lot of what the fuck. There's I could probably take a quarter of my notes out. 25% of my notes are hilariously too long and redundant because they're just notes about how this film is too long and redundant. Mm-hmm. But again, for every note where I'm like, man, why is this scene still happening? Right after that, there's like, well, that's a neat camera trick. Like,
yeah.
Like I wrote down like, his audiobook, Space Trip or whatever, but there is neat camera stuff is a note I have in here. I did write down something about the 30-year-old Philip J. Fry running with the train. It was fucking with me a little bit. Yeah.
Even the opening credits are just too long.
They are, but that is maybe a good note. I do like they're way too fucking long. All right, so here's the third note in my thing. Is there a film after this music video? Is what I wrote down.
That's the opening credits you're talking about?
Yeah, well, like my entire first few notes here, just to read it verbatim, is it's credits, and I have no idea what I saw yet. Meaning, yeah. So like I don't even know. The first few seconds of the film, I literally do not know what I saw. Do you remember what I'm talking about before even the credits roll? I don't. Is it like some kind of announcement of some kind? Hold on, I'm gonna rewind this.
Oh, the bit where it's like
through a news.
No, it's from a comic book. It's from a comic book, I think.
But there's curtains on the side of it.
Yeah, there's curtains, and
what framing device are we doing right now?
That was weird. Yeah, that is a super weird thing. But it's like curtains pull back as if we're in a theater, and we see a little boy or the hands of a little boy put down an Action Comics.
And there's a dream sequence wavy thing.
And yeah, like he opens the book and we're seeing panels and he starts talking about Metropolis and the Daily Planet, a metropolitan newspaper.
He goes to a Daily Planet with a globe that we don't have, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, with a globe. It wavies in. I don't know.
we're still in that. Okay, now, so it really is just useless framing because we do that, and then the Alexander Salkind presents the curtains literally reveal, like they pull out from the screen, and then we're just in credits. We're just in the credits now, where the music has started, and we're doing credits. So I'd written down its credits, and I have no idea what I saw yet. I never did get an explanation for that, and there won't be. And then I wrote, but goddamn those credits, and then I have like a ... from several minutes later where I wrote, okay, less credits, please.
Yeah.
And
when the credits started, I looked over at my wife. She was like, "Oh, that looks cool," and I'm like, "Yeah, enjoy this for the next 20 minutes."
So you knew. I did not.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It does look great. It does. And I wrote down at the end, my last notes regarding this were something like, end credits are gorgeous. Would have watched this in the late 70s in the theater a few times just for the song and the light show.
By the way, plot twist, I'm pretty sure the kid holding the comic book at the beginning is Superman's bastard son from Returns.
Nice, yeah.
I've decided that's the truth.
It might as well be the kid from fucking Twin Peaks or whatever the hell that... it's not Twin Peaks. It's whatever that St. Elmo's Fire. Something.
Dude, I don't know what
what's
the fuck you're talking about.
What's the kid that Tommy or something? What's the kid at the end of that show that turns out every show that's ever existed is in his brain?
That's St. Elsewhere. Tommy
St.
Westfall.
Elsewhere. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, it's Tommy Westfall.
It might as well be his goddamn hands. I don't know.
May have been Fred Savage from The Princess Bride or whatever the hell that was.
Yeah. Why not?
And then he went on a sexual assault rampage and got canceled in Hollywood.
Of course.
Of course. Well, the wonder years indeed, sir. Piece of shit. You were beloved.
We'll see. We'll see Fred Savage sometime later behind the screen.
Oh, we already have probably. I mean, I know he'd moved on to directing and stuff a bunch.
Yeah, he'd do. I haven't seen him in front of. I don't know that I'd ever seen his name in front of a screen beyond that. Actually, I'd seen his name pop up several times in directing. Oh, okay, that's what you're doing now.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he did do an episode of Boy Meets World where he played a professor who, ironically, got real rapey with Topanga.
Oh, lovely.
And then Corey almost got expelled for hitting him. But I mean, he was on a sitcom called Working for a while. He was on a 2-season series on Netflix. He was around. He was executive producing. He was executive producing the new Wonder Years that was set in Montgomery, and was in universe with his Wonder Years and then it got canceled because he got fired for all the bullshit that he was doing.
Gotcha.
Anyway, whatever. That turned into a weird conversation.
Didn't expect this movie to end with that in any capacity. Yes, but like.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah. I mean,
Fred Savage.
Right. God, I just got to the part of the screen. There's 4 writers to this. So it's got, and it has, so there's a pack of 2. There's one and then a second, all presented at once with no ampersand. And then the second is set,
right.
And then there's a second set with an ampersand. I don't know. So with SAG rules, that ampersand means something and the teams mean something, but the way this is done, I don't know if it's supposed to be 4 or not.
Yeah.
What I do know is that's a shit ton of fucking writers.
Also, there's one uncredited.
Yeah.
Tom Mankiewicz. He took he's written in there.
Yeah.
He's in there, part. But he did an uncredited pass in the screenplay.
Yeah, he did. God, I gotta finish that book. That was an interesting part in there. I'm remembering.
And if you think Tom Mankiewicz sounds familiar, he did Live and Let Die. He did Lady Hawk. He worked on Superman 2. Delirious, Dragnet, Man with the Golden Gun, Diamonds Are Forever, Taking the Heat, a bunch of stuff. And the Mankiewicz are all over Hollywood. Like his uncle, I think it was, did Citizen Kane with Orson Welles. Like it's one of those like Hollywood dynasty families. The man's been around. The man's been around, and the name has been around.
Of course.
Don't nobody fuck with Herman Mankiewicz now.
Yeah.
Except for Orson Welles, apparently, who took full credit.
He did Citizen Kane, and then he just did whatever he wanted for. Did that stop? Was there an end date to that, or did he just die eventually?
He critically never topped Citizen Kane.
No one ever topped it. Period.
No one.
Of course,
no one did.
He
No
just
one
came
did.
in and said, "This is the perfect film. We'll be working from here." And then apparently everyone's
Right.
Look, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I saw it once when I was a teenager, and when he was like, "Yeah, that actually is as good as I thought it was, as I was told." And then my understanding is it's really good.
Yeah. No.
But I love the narrative idea that we just in the 1940 whatever that was. We're just like, yeah, we got it right. Don't worry about it.
Look, here's I mean, it was so old that like it was produced by a radio production team, or a production company. 1941 was Citizen Kane. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And Citizen Kane is like the blueprint for all movies. Apparently, most people in the critic space will say, "Oh, Citizen Kane was the best movie," and it's the best movie I've ever seen, pound for pound. This shit's subjective, though. My wife says it's boring. She hated the movie.
It is one of those where it has. I do like things that have crossover like this, where like it's supposed to be that good and blah blah blah, and then you kind of watch it and you're like, okay, but as GA, that does look like it's pretty profound. I don't even completely understand, but that makes sense.
And of course, there's always
It's like listening to fucking Sergeant Pepper's or something.
There are always the people who are just going to try to go against the grain, even to the point where they, art is subjective. So, but people are still going to go against the grain, try to be hipsters about it. Like, I thought it was The Trial. That was the best one he ever made.
Right. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's like, I liked Casino Royale. He didn't even direct that. He was just in it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I could go too far on Citizen Kane and Orson Welles bullshit. So let's
That's fair.
steer it back towards Superman if we can.
I don't know where I rested with this with the movie. I expected that to be fun to watch and to be able to just be like, oh well, that was interesting, and just put it down. And I just found myself slightly more annoyed for 2.5 hours than I thought I would be. And like, short of some stuff that is really like, there's 30 minutes of this that was deeply enjoyable, and 2 hours worth of woof.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me give you a sign off issue for me. I'm glad we didn't watch this in the course of our doing this show. I actually am glad about that. Now, here's why.
Wow. Okay. Jesus.
Because we went through the entire Snyder era.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of that era was people, like the people who were objecting to what Snyder was doing. It seemed that the whole thing was, we just miss this. And I was mad anyway, that there were just people mad about something from the 70s that they didn't get. And this one did smile. I was mad enough without remembering that I didn't like this as much as everyone else did anyway. So I'm kind of glad we haven't watched it, because I would have been pissed at the time.
I feel like I hit those notes enough for both of us during that time, because
probably.
While I was like, yes, I have fond memories of this, and I do love this movie for what it is. And, you can show me all the worst bits of it, except for the "Can you read my mind" bit, which I loathe every time
Universally
I see it.
panned, and just, damn it, some things deserve it.
Hate it. But, if even for all of its flaws, I love this movie. But at the same time, back then, I was going, can we get past Donner? Can we just get past Donner?
Yeah, that's the thing, though, is you kind of had to experience from both accounts, and I was lacking that intrinsic version. From my version, it was more just, that's in the past. I have vague knowledge of it, but I'm glad I wasn't as acutely aware of like how forgettable this really is. It is not a good film by most standards of what is a good film. It's an okay film about a character I love that got some stuff really right.
Yeah. I don't think that we got enough time with the Kents to really care about John Kent dying, or, Ma Kent hugging him and crying like she's never going to see him again. And like, it's time for me to go out in the world, Ma. Like that could have been developed. I mean, in the sense that they were both very good actors, and I cared about what they were doing because they did a great job with it. But other than that, they didn't really have a lot of gestation. Yeah, and I don't care about the characters' I don't care much about their chemistry or who they are to each other. Like, and maybe that's by design, because I do get a little misty during those scenes, but it's more or less a very generalized feeling of time passes, children move on, people die. It is a sad thing. It's a sad fact of life,
Yeah, you didn't get sad within this movie about the thing.
Right. I didn't feel things for Martha Kent or Jonathan Kent. Though I will say Glenn Ford fucking kills it. Like, he does, when his arm starts to go numb and he looks at his hand and goes, "Oh no!" Like that fucking kills me because like he made me believe that he knew he was dying.
He did, and he did a good job. But one complaint among many others was in that scene. They never stopped the music. The score kind of from the scene where they're just chilling kind of continues. Like he just dies in the wrong music. Like it's this. It was weird. I'd have to watch that one again and listen with you and be like, am I crazy? But it just seemed like they were doing like this walking home, you know, oh shucks kind of moment, and we're in that kind of like major key, slightly carefree music, and then like he just kind of dies, and then we go all the way to a cemetery. Like we buried this man in the same key, and I'm not sure that was appropriate.
Oh no! Oh hey, you want to hear an argument for fun?
Oh yeah.
That some people are not going to think is fun. So everybody, and myself included, because I said this to myself, who held this movie up while tearing Man of Steel down for their Pa Kent death scene.
Mm-hmm.
We just watched Clark run like a motherfucker across the damn fields and everything else to get home before Brad and Lana drove by his house.
Mm-hmm.
You telling me he couldn't run his dad to the
sick
hospital?
old down to the hospital? Yeah, no.
For all, I mean, I get it. We needed him to die, and we needed him to suddenly not only not know how to run his dad to the hospital. We had to believe that he was too busy playing with a dog in the yard to hear his dad go, "Oh no," and collapse.
Yeah, yeah.
Even Ma Kent heard him fall.
Yeah.
But he didn't, even though he was closer to Pa.
Yeah. Yeah, On
the other hand, I did laugh, and I said, if Jason was Superman, he would ignore his dad falling because he was playing with a dog.
Absolutely. I would just get to it. Like, it wouldn't occur to me until the heart had stopped that there was an actual issue.
You'd be like, yay, puppy,
I would
yay,
be consumed
puppy,
with...
puppy, 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 puppy. Oh, no.
Yes, yeah. I would go from complete wrapped ecstasy trying to find a stick with the dog to the heart-wrenching loss of my father in just a second. Yes.
Yeah. So there, I've caused just enough of a problem for Superman the movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I genuinely am done. I'm going to give one good line in there. I put a star by this one. Is a bird showing off when it flies?
Mm-hmm.
It just snuck in a damn good piece of dialogue somewhere in there. Do you remember where that is though? Like where he's
when he's talking to his dad.
Yeah,
right?
when he's like
talking to
showing
Pa.
off a little bit, huh? You know. Yeah, right. I didn't mean to show off, Pa.
He's like, yeah, but a bird don't wear no queer panties.
Yeah. It's a weird time.
I'm glad Paul died. He never saw me in that fruity suit.
Yeah.
You know how he hated the gays, Ma.
Yeah.
You know how he hated the gays. He sure did, son.
It was only 78.
He was a loving man, but man, he hated some quarters.
It was 1978, and this was set in a rural place. So it was not going to be kind when it got outside of this. That's actually probably why that was so. That's a good point. You were just saying it was an undeveloped thing. Is like, outside of the context of them having done this one nice, kind thing, we might not have liked the Kents very much.
Yeah,
they might be closed-minded cunts after all. So
yeah,
that saw a kid and fucking did the right thing. But other than that, I don't know if I'd agree with him on much.
They probably like, I want to do that version of the Kents where it actually did happen in the 30s or 40s or whatever it was, or like Superman. Like I want to do the one where Superman is, active as Superman in 38. So I want to go and show his history, crashing on the farm, and the Kents are actually upset because his existence made them stop believing in God.
Yeah,
and they lose their faith. And they just can't handle him, and they send him to the orphanage like in the old Fleischer cartoons. Mm-hmm. And they always gloss over that, like, he was found by a couple who sent him to an orphanage.
Right.
Why did they send him to an orphanage?
Because the fear.
Because of the fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the orphanage is why, Superman is a bully in the first few issues where he's like thumping dudes in the head and shit and laughing at them as they fall.
Yeah.
But also why he went after corruption, and as he saw he was in the system and he was like, dude, being a fucking orphan sucks.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, he goes through like
blue.
he really does go through like a series of in the first issue he's kind of an everyman's protagonist. Like he changes scope a lot. Is I guess the right way of putting it. But yeah, you're right. Like a modern day, like a 2025 Superman we just have scenes of him going back to Kansas and fighting about his fucking parents had gone MAGA.
Yeah.
Like he's going back to Smallville where he didn't have to worry about this shit. And then like he goes back to Lois in Smallville and he's like, I can hear them right now though.
I can hear Paul watching Fox News.
I tried to hide the channel. He fucking found it. Like that would be fun. They're in Metropolis talking about something. Like she's just making dinner and he pauses and like winces real quick. What? You cut your? No, you can't cut yourself. What did you do? I just heard him. He found the channel. I tried to put the lock on it, but he just found it. Yeah. What? Fox News. He found it again. Shit.
Yeah. Oh man. You want to do some trivia?
Let's hit some trivia up real quick. That is going to be an interesting time. Like if we're going to see this in like 30 years or whatever, 30 years. And we're like, yeah, we're going to have to tell these same stories, but during the 15-year Trump era.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh God, I'm not looking forward to that.
So,
yeah, trivia's away.
Yes. To access Luthor's hidden lair, Superman has to drill through the street by spinning around at super speed. And the first time he did this was in the comics was Superman number 11.
Mm.
And
they briefly called it super screwing before it got editor notes.
Right. The extended special edition of the movie that was released in 2000 includes a sequence where Superman has to endure a series of traps, like I said. First of these traps is sprung with sliding panels, move aside to reveal machine gun nests. And some gangsters attempted a similar trap against Superman in Action Comics number 2 in July of 38.
Mm.
I love that they went out of their way to do homages, even if they wound up cutting it from the movie.
Yeah.
Luthor draws Superman out. Yeah. Luthor draws Superman out in the movie by speaking to him in a frequency only he can hear. The first time he did this was in The Invisible Luthor in Superman number 10, May 1941, which was also the first appearance of Luthor bald.
Mm.
And you know that whole story, right? How he was like just a redheaded dude originally, and then like someone accidentally put a Luthor word bubble on a bald henchman, and suddenly he became Luthor.
Right? Yeah. It's up there with Grey Hulk, and like printing errors are canon now.
Yeah,
it all happened fast, but we got to roll with it. Like,
all right,
that was good. This has been well timed. He's at the. I've just got the movie running in the background. He just did the corkscrew. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So, you know, Luthor's plan involving the earthquake, sending the missile to start the earthquake. Spring 1940, Superman number 4, Superman versus Luthor. The master plan involves inducing earthquakes, except with the aid of a stolen earthquake machine, because of course they have something like that.
Naturally.
In the comics. Let's see. Lois debuted in the comics in the very first Superman story ever published, Superman Champion of the Oppressed. Action Comics number 1, June 1938. By the way, that Chief gag, "Don't call me Chief," that's lifted straight from the comics.
The "Don't call me Chief"?
Yeah.
Oh.
Perry's like, "Don't call me Chief," to Jimmy. "Sorry, Chief."
There was a moment in there, I felt like it wasn't "Don't call me." They borderline did the "Don't call me Shirley" joke.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to look up what year Airplane came out because of.
Yeah, no, it's an old thing from the comics.
I was wondering, okay.
Where Jimmy calling him Chief, and he's like, "Don't call me Chief."
I want to say it was even maybe different, but yeah, like that. I could see that. Yeah, there was a lot of that bullpen humor was very. It felt like that kind of snappy era after Monty Python kind of thing.
Yeah, one of my favorite bits with the Chief though was like when he's like yelling at everybody, and he like looks at the cute lady standing next to him and says something to her, and she just smiles at him. And he does this little like blush and head wobble with a little smirk, like, "Oh, mm-hmm."
Yeah, like, yeah.
It was very MASH.
Yeah. He has this moment where he does that, and then he's sort of like, and goes back to the meeting, and
yeah,
it cracked me up too because like if you're in that meeting, you're watching him run around the room and say all this, and then you watch him get his head inflated by some lady next to him, and then you watch him just sort of try to regroup and continue to give orders, and you're like, I have to continue in this room being led by this man. Okay, I got you. Okay, that's my life right now. All right.
I mean, and it felt like Colonel Blake on MASH to me.
Yeah,
it was
very
the
much
same
so.
dynamic.
Very much so. But yeah, Colonel, people taking orders.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just like, order. I'm trying to make it seem like I know what I'm doing. And, oh, hello.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Marge, you didn't go out and said it's hard to take you seriously with your dick hard. What'd you say? I'm sorry. There's a tint.
See, and I didn't even see it as like a dick hard thing. It was just like a, pretty girl looks at you and smiles.
Oh no, in MASH I was
like
thinking it was more
weak knees.
In MASH I was thinking it was very much more they were often being a little more coy that way. No,
yeah.
In here it just seemed like he just liked the flattery of when you're trying to earn your stripes in the newsroom and saying nice things. The sycophantic period of trying to earn your stripes.
Yeah. Let's see. The communities shown on Otis's slide of Lex's new West Coast are in order from south to north. Lexington, Lex Springs, Otisburg with a backwards S, Lutherville, Marina del Lex, and my favorite, Tessmacher Peaks.
Of course it's Tessmacher Peaks. That's
Tessmacher Peaks. I don't think they get to in the movie because he gets hung up on Otisburg. Otisburg.
Yeah.
Otisburg. Oh, please, Mr. Luthor, you have all these places, and even Miss Tessmacher has a place. It's just a little place, Mr. Luthor, please. Otisburg.
Yeah. I mean, her boobs are a significant portion of the plot of this movie, so sure, okay.
Tessmacher Peaks.
That's good. I didn't notice Tessmacher Peaks. That's good. Hey, that scene did contain one of my favorite visuals in this, is when he taps it with his cane and breaks the glass over the...
Oh, yeah.
That's just... that was well chosen. Well chosen.
So good. So good, dude.
See, they made a lot of choices. Most of them I didn't agree with, but some of them were very good.
I liked a lot of the choices, and then, I thought it was weird. Like, for instance...
I would like to see this movie in 1980, like 5, or
right.
me be this age and see it in 78 or whatever, and see what I thought. I wonder how big of a prick I would think I was at either time.
Yeah. Like, okay, so when Lois gets that note that says, meet me at your place at 8 o'clock, a friend.
A friend.
And she's like, oh, a friend.
It's happening.
She clearly thinks it's Superman.
Yeah.
But she also clearly made plans with Clark.
Right.
As if he was the friend.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what we're supposed to think then.
I don't either. And he seems to show up after
he just shows up directly after.
He seemingly just to get off on how much he impressed her. Like he just shows up to get to like look at his work here and be like, oh man, she's really taken aback. In fact, I'm so impressed I might just go as far as to tell her myself. Well, and then we watch him change and decide not to do that. And then she wanders out of the scene saying something. I don't know. She's not paying attention either. But I guess he goes like, it's funny. He like cucks himself the whole fucking date. It's great.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because you almost want him to be like, like Bruce was in Batman Forever, where she's like, she's interested in Batman, not me. Like you want Clark to be like, no, she doesn't like me. She likes Superman.
Yeah. No, instead he's like, she really likes that thing I do.
But here they very much seem to be like indicating like Superman is the real him.
Yeah, Clark is definitely the mask here.
Right. Clark is definitely the mask. It might be his actual name, the name that he goes by in real life, but Superman is his personality.
Which is a good point. That is a good point. We didn't take time to really worry about that in the Forever thing, that he considers Bruce Wayne more of himself than Batman. That's not one of our favorite traits. We prefer the BTS version, Typically.
I go back and forth.
I'm not setting
I
stone
feel
on any of
like
this myself.
I'm not the same person I am, any given week. Like I change a little bit. I have different feelings about things. I feel certain kinds of ways. So I'm okay with Bruce Wayne every once in a while being like, well, hold up, what the fuck, dude?
Right.
Like I'm Bruce Wayne. Come on.
Yeah.
It's just that I was completely marred by this horrible trauma in my childhood. And, sometimes I feel like I'm more Batman. My personality is Batman, but I still want to be loved for who I am, not for a suit. It's like that. There's like that Spider-Man thing where he's like getting down with Black Cat, and then he goes to take off his mask, and she just freaks the fuck out, and she's like, "Don't take off the mask!" Ah!
Yeah,
because she doesn't like Peter Parker. She doesn't want him to fuck her with the mask off.
Yeah. That ain't what it's about for her.
That's like, yeah, like she like has a terrible aversion to Peter Parker. Yeah. Ew, not Peter Parker. Put the mask on. Ah, Spider-Man. There's that dick.
Yeah, she wants a special thing.
Yeah.
You know, I've tried a couple times to end this on a high note, but unfortunately the last thing might be a low one. Because it's playing in the background, and it just got to the missiles, and I just realized I think it's named XK-101. Mm-hmm. The missile. They're both named XK-101, I believe.
Okay.
They shouldn't both be named anything.
Right.
I think that's mandatory, that missiles are not named the same thing. Yeah. Lest you mix up how many and where they are.
Now,
much like you have during the process of trying to follow the plot. Like, I don't know either where and what the missiles are.
That's because they only had one missile?
Yeah.
They only built one?
No, they did. Very clearly, when you look at the missile shot, because I just saw it, one is shot from the left and one is shot from the right, and it is indicated to us that is two.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, very much the XK-101 shot twice.
Right. Now, I don't know from bombs. Are these nuclear missiles?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. They don't have to be ICBMs. Those are intercontinental. That's the whole thing.
I've seen some people say that they're not, and some people say, well, like, they are, and, earthquake would be the least of your damn problems.
Well, yeah, I mean, no, we did see the explosion. It wasn't nuclear. I guess it wasn't supposed to be a nuclear bomb. Or if it was, they sure as hell didn't pull it off in what happened. Because
like Lex said something about a megaton bomb, something.
Yeah, it's just a big old bomb, I guess, of some kind. I mean, none of that would work either. But we're not gonna be able to worry about physics in a movie where anything else in this movie happened. But yeah, I don't think there's a version of events where you can have even one nuclear bomb that'll actually set off even the San Andreas fault line. Yeah,
I don't remember them saying nuclear, but maybe they did.
And then I don't know from bombs. It's a pretty big gap between regular bombery and nuclear bombery. It's not. You don't just like get up to grade 9 with the regular bombs and with gasoline and a match, and then like grade 10 is nuclear. It's a jump.
Yeah, I don't know. The internet seems to be divided. The AI overview says it is, but I don't believe that thing.
No. The top of the page Google one is. It's not one of the more clever AI bots out there. Let's put it mildly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, see, this makes sense. This person is saying, especially from that era, a lot of missiles have multiple warheads. While no single warhead would be 500 megatons, as Lex stated, it's certainly possible that the combined yield would be more than 500 megatons. This would be especially likely if the warheads targeted various points along the length of the fault. Maybe both missiles were supposed to hit the fault at 2 different points, which he did only point to one point. But even if both of them hit the same point, maybe it would have done something like take out all of California and create that new West Coast. But, obviously one was messed up by Otis and went to Hackensack. And Superman didn't have to do that much to make it not sink the whole state.
Yeah, that seems to be another undersized portion of this. Like we'd be here for hours if we got into the physics of why this movie doesn't work.
Well, sure. We already have been.
Yeah, it's also true. But it would be another series it'd be hours and just Googling the most elementary of, would this work? No. Would this work? No. How would this go? Not that way. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think I'm done talking about it. I can be anyway.
Yeah, I'm happy to come.
Was there anything you had that was just laying on your heart?
No, I think we went over. I actually did get through most of these 2 pages of notes.
Yeah.
In some capacity or another.
They didn't touch on them much here, but it does make sense that Clark and Jimmy would be friends. They're the only ones who, even Perry's moved into the 70s, but those two are still firmly planted in the 50s. Jimmy with his bow tie. Clark with his swell.
Yeah. A little. I think
golly gee, Miss Kent. Golly gee, I wish Clark could have been here to see this.
I think, it's playing in the background now. I think in the Hoover Dam scene, or the Hooverish Damish scene, whatever. I can't remember if it's just said by name or not. But I think there he's just wearing like a red flannel, which is very much you have every one of John Denver's vinyls outfit, but like, I mean, no offense, he was good, but like, it's not the actual bow tie. I don't think on the second one. I'm kind of waiting for him to come back.
I mean, it wasn't when he was in the newsroom for sure. I wasn't really paying attention by the point that he was at the dam.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's at that scene. You know what looked particularly good was that him pretending to be a train track or a train rail.
Yeah. I feel like there should be a band called Jimmy at the Dam.
Yeah. Yeah. But we'd have to revive Scott to do that properly.
Yeah, he's got like a windbreaker on at the dam.
It's like a windbreaker and a red flannel kind of. You know, it's actually that looks kind of back in a way.
Yeah, it is a windbreaker and a flannel. It does look like a 1950s though, for sure.
Yeah, it very much does. Like that. But like, he walked out of an Archie's comic. Yeah,
he did.
Into that.
He's a nerd.
Into the Hoover Dam.
Is it sad that we've talked about it and I just want to go watch it again?
I mean, I kind of have in the background while we've been doing this, so I'm good. But I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I think I would enjoy it more if we watched it and could, kind of have fun with it together. I don't think I don't know that I'll ever really sit and watch it by myself. Mm-hmm. Maybe ever. I don't know that there'll be ever a need for me to do that again.
No. Maybe we'll. I don't know what we should do. I don't know if we should do a. Just watch. I feel like we should watch Richard Donner's preferred version for sure, and review that, and then maybe we should do a commentary on the 3-hour cut.
That could be.
Just hanging out in a room together, just cracking up at the how fucking padded and unnecessary the entirety of the 3-hour cut.
I don't know how you would stretch this into 3 hours.
They did. It was like 3 hours and like 2 minutes or something like that.
Unless you
crazy.
Literally slowed down the footage.
I don't think they did. I saw somebody talking about this, and I don't remember this. I saw somebody talking about how like the missile scenes are so extended that like at some point the missile is like doing like cartoon loop-de-loops and doubling back on Superman at some point. Like, I don't remember that at all. But I now kind of want to go back and watch and see if that's true.
It's just an early military industrial complex advertisement. Is that whole scene?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious to see how bad it is. I do have it on Blu-ray, so
we'd have to maybe do in that format. I don't think I have the constitution to watch it again, a 3-hour version by myself. I think I might have to have company.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. Is like maybe we do the extended cut.
A palatable way for me to do this.
Maybe we do the extended cut at some point in the future, by ourselves, or we can do it, together. Yeah. Watch it together and then talk about it. But I definitely think the 3-hour cut should be an active commentary. Like
maybe something like
play
that.
it, you play the movie, you watch it with us, you talk with it, we talk over it. Just to keep it somewhat interesting after this 2.5 hour review of Superman.
God, that has been a minute. Oh Lord, yeah, we should have that.
Yeah. I need to go to Walmart.
Yeah, if I watch the 3-hour version of this by myself, I'm gonna develop.
You won't have to.
I'm gonna end up with like another substance abuse issue after that. Just trying to get through.
Well, don't do that.
It's gonna be a long journey. Hour and a half in, like I've never tried heroin. Let's see.
Yeah, doing the show with me is what gave you the substance abuse problem in the first place.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if it was like a Tonight Show kind of thing where we keep joking about your substance abuse issues, but I'm the real one with the problem.
That'd be great. Yeah.
They shit on Ed McMahon for years on the Tonight Show, and it was really Johnny who had the problem.
Yeah. No, it'd be like my version of that would be going back to events. So I was doing fine until they introduced Legends of Tomorrow. It was.
Oh yeah, no.
The Arrowverse killed me.
No, I think you enjoyed that enough. I would say it was the CGI mustache, maybe.
The CGI mustache was. I talked about that with Christian yesterday. That we would just, because I can't remember, this next Mission Impossible is coming out. Whatever Missions Impossibles we're on. And I was asking if it was supposed to be the final one. I don't know. I never looked it up.
I think it's Tom Cruise's final one.
Okay,
he's campaigning for. Tom Cruise said he didn't want the movies to go on unless Glenn Powell was the main character.
Oh, okay. So he wants to pass it. You know what? As much as he put into it, I'm okay with that in a way. But
sure.
told her, I was like, you know what? Maybe there's probably going to be a time where I'll go back and watch all those movies and be like, man, there's going to be like 12 movies worth of a good time. I can go have some just a cheap entertaining laugh. It's even got Simon Pegg.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be a while before I can forgive it for the mustache.
I will say, as a person who has no real vested interest in the original series or cares anything about those characters, the first Mission Impossible movie was a mindfuck and a wonderful time. Like some really cool, serious spy shit.
Yeah, I watched the first couple movies. I mean, they were
like,
I was a teenager when those started coming out.
They apparently originally intended it to be like in canon with the TV show. They had Peter Graves supposed to come back as John Voight's character, and he said no because they turned him into a villain. And he didn't think that his character would do that. Jim Phelps would be a villain. And I understand where he's coming from. Totally
I
glad
don't mind the integrity of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I fine with the integrity. Also fine with what they did. I needed that to be a twist. Like, they introduced a bunch of characters who got killed off in the first 10 minutes. Holy shit. That was cool.
That is nice.
Didn't see it coming. Yeah. So, I didn't like the second Mission Impossible movie. It was pretty.
I have no real memory of them at this point. I mean, not really. The last thing I saw was a sleight of hand guy break down whether Tom Cruise really did the disappearing disc. Spoiler, yes. But it's been a while. But like one day when I can forgive that whole franchise for the mustache, when enough time has passed.
It wasn't the franchise. It wasn't the franchise. It was the studio.
I know, but I associated it with it, and I don't.
That's like blaming DC for the bullshit Zaslav keeps doing.
Yeah, I know, but like that's what I'm saying. Like when enough time's passed that I haven't associated with it, I've got like 12 good movies waiting on me. But
yeah,
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I would like to go back and watch the first 3 Mission Impossible movies because I saw them when they came out, and that was the last time. Well, that's not true for Mission Impossible. The first one, I saw that a few times. I had it on VHS, but the last one I actually saw was 3, the J.J. Abrams, Kerry Russell, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I don't think I made it that far.
I saw that one in theaters and had a fine time. I think that's when Simon Pegg started popping up.
Yeah, I think I'd just sort of fallen off by then. Never quite made it back on.
Yeah, never went back to it after that.
Yeah,
I've always been shocked that they kept going.
Yeah. Speaking of, we should wrap for the 10th time.
Jesus.
It's going to take a while to edit 2.5 hours with this shit.
It won't.
I mean, longer than it takes for an hour's worth. Yes.
It would if I edited.
Yeah. I mean, we did ourselves the favor of throwing out line by line and content edits at the conception of the show rather than sometime later. So
we just spent 10 years not editing our show. You think I'm going to start now?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
No, we do edit to some degree.
It's unfortunately not for tightness, but yes, we edit for foibles, not for.
Yeah, we're gonna sign off. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for being patrons. If you aren't, what the fuck's wrong with you? It's $1 a month to get these episodes ad free, and that's a pretty good deal, honestly. I wouldn't spend $5 a month just for our extra shit, but I'd spend $1 a month to not have to listen to the ads.
Yeah,
just being honest. I'm not going to tell you a lie.
Yeah.
I would join the Patreon, become friends with a $5 member, and ask them to, slip me the episode from time to time if I was interested.
Of course.
I wouldn't actually ask for anybody to do that. I would guilt them into it.
I've never even considered if that's a thing.
Oh, I don't know. We've literally had somebody like on their exit survey say, "Got the episode I came for."
I could see that though, because I have been like, I have been interested in just 2 or 3 of something behind a paywall before and thought, I'm not going to do that.
But you know what? Now we've got it to where the extra episodes, you don't even have to pay for the $5 a month. You can just buy it outright, carte blanche, for like $3 or whatever it is.
Yep.
So it's easy peasy. Get the one thing you wanted and move on with your day.
Just pick your shot.
Yep.
You
can also do it that way.
Which is relevant because a lot of what we cover is topical and can come and go. So short of just kind of sometimes knowing where the conversation was at a point in time. Going back for some of our episodes is really just kind of like going back for moments where we've hit a story as it's come and gone.
But I am currently working on making the Patreon more worth it. So I don't know if I'll actually get to it, but I'm always planning it. It's been wonderful talking to you for 10 years on this, Jason. Now it kind of sounds like we're ending the show, and we're absolutely not. We are coming back probably next week, I would imagine, for a news episode because those things build up.
They do.
And then the next week, we're going to be doing Superman 2, right?
Yeah.
We're going to be hitting Superman 2, which I actually prefer to this movie.
I am curious about how I'm going to feel about 2 now, because there's a lot of questions.
Yeah. And it's going to be the theatrical cut. It's not going to be
I'm watching whatever's on
the
Max.
Donner cut. Yeah. Right. It's going to be straight up the mesh of Donner and Lester.
Right.
Theatrical cut. And then we'll probably do news and then Superman 3 until, we'll go that way until
it's time.
Did you decide you wanted to do returns?
I hadn't really thought about it since. We have one other episode that I was going to, we have the one other episode I'd talk to you about that I wanted to send you to see if we want to do it. But it requires a little bit of putting it together beforehand.
I don't remember that. We'll have to talk about that after. But we'll see. We might do Superman Returns. I want to at some point.
It also may depend on time because we're going to...
You're going out of town at some point.
Yeah, I'm going out of town 1 week.
Yeah, so we might skip a news on that and just skip a week.
Well, that and we didn't know what news may or may not. I'm kind of curious if it's
news is hard, man.
We don't know how this is going to... We have the trailer. There might be a final trailer. There might not. Probably. But we may not get much, or we could get a ton, and I have no idea. We could get a flood right before and think, dear God, we're going to have to do a news show for 2 weeks before this thing actually comes out. Hard to know in late May.
Or here's the fun thing.
6 weeks now? They could flood us.
It might get so flooded with news that we are just we don't even want to talk about it.
We have done that as well.
The movie. Yeah. In which case, I'm absolutely fine just reviewing Superman movies every week until Superman comes out.
Although if I enjoy Superman 2 at the level that I've enjoyed Superman 1, we may have to talk seriously about 3, whether I can handle.
Well, I don't know, because 3 is different.
3 is very different. And 4 was just 4 was enjoyable in its own campy nightmare of it's just, I don't know.
Well, we've already
reviewed
movies.
That. Yeah, no, I know. But I'm just saying these are very different movies. It's hard to believe that what I just watched in 4 are even loosely connected. Although it isn't in certain ways, but in certain painful ways. But
I think I like 3. I say I like 3 more than 1.
I mean, yes, in the sense, it would be different if I was like, man, I didn't like the first Bourne Identity. Well, I'm not going to like the 4th one either. It's the same we're not going to change that much.
Richard Pryor covers a multitude of sins is all I'll say.
Yeah, that's true. But also, the Superman movies is different. 2 will be a different film entirely than what I just watched.
Also, 3 barely has Lois. It's mostly Annette O'Toole being super hot as Lana Lang. And I'm just like, my beloved. Mm-hmm. There's no Lois here now.
Replaced her on the screen and in my heart.
Get bent, Brad. So, anyway. But, Superman 3, we don't have the wonderful Gene Hackman anymore. So, we're dealing with lackluster villains.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, man. It's a tough. I'm curious, though. I'm curious what you'll think.
Yeah.
Because we haven't, really sat down and watched any of these.
No, we really haven't. And, I mean, I do have mixed feelings.
Smallville. We've talked about Smallville. Probably Lois and Clark more than we've talked about these movies.
I mean, I think so. Well, it's been forever since I've really seen them. Because every time we talk about them, I think it's just that we say, I think that's basically been what we've said for 10 years is, we know they're a big thing, but it's been a while since we've seen them.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen them more often than you have.
Clearly, yeah.
I will just put on Superman in the background. I won't really watch it, but I know it's there. It gives me comfort. It's like a blanket.
I get it. I mean, and I'm not trying to compare it. I've many a time thrown on Man of Steel in the background as just a nice movie that I like to have in the back. Mm-hmm. I would still almost rather just throw that on in the background than this one.
Yeah, I get it. I'm
trying to. That's not a hot take, start a fire thing. Don't calm down. But it's.
I mean, I grew up with these on TV. That's why I wanted the 3-hour cut.
Yeah, I get that.
Because I know that there's stuff. So but yeah, we're gonna try to get through it was 2 and 3. I'd love to do Returns.
God, I really just I think I'd hoped that I'd go back and there'd be some like raw genius in here that you'd be able to kind of see through the late 70s of the whole thing, and I just didn't find that much under the hood. Like when you go back and look at watch Batman 66, it's wrong for a number of reasons. There's a number of 60s things about it, but like you can tell that there was some real chances being taken and what was trying to be done artistically. And like this one, you can see spots of it, and the rest of it, it seems so odd. The rest of it was so hard to get my head around and relate to.
Look, I do see the artistic points of it. I do see where they transcended. And I mean, first of all, they were treating a comic book movie not like Batman 66, which is phenomenal. Like, there wasn't a bunch of pow zip. It was fun, and it didn't take itself completely seriously. Like, it was a little tongue in cheek, but at the same time, like, they treated it like it was a sprawling epic. They treated it like it was an important story, tonally.
Yeah, that the overall choice of how they chose to frame it. Yeah, they did that extraordinarily well, and did a really good job of setting a tone that was possible. And Chris, like I said earlier, like the fact that he walks around in that silly, stupid fucking uniform and pretends it's okay the whole time. Fantastic. Yeah,
if they had somebody in that costume today, that people would be eating it alive.
Yeah.
Just like they are now, where they're like, oh, diaper man. Okay, fine. But let's see how the movie actually presents it and how they treat it.
Yeah.
Because if Chris Reeve hadn't acted the way he did, if Richard Donner hadn't filmed it and directed it the way he did, if it wasn't written the way it was, we wouldn't have bought this suit either. But we do buy it because all of those things work.
Yeah. They macheted the path through the woods for us. I mean, I'm appreciative of all that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, it's just that, so there are moments where where there isn't enough going on there for me to really get my teeth around. And then there are other moments where there were some choices made, and I'm not on the side of it that enjoyed it.
Yeah, I get it. I agree on a bunch of the choices, but also I'm sitting there going like, I just took this movie seriously.
Yeah,
certain things were cheesy, but I took this movie pretty damn seriously for what I just looked at.
I don't think I ever really was able to get there. I think that was maybe the disappointing part, was I never quite got to the point where I was in the movie in any real way. Like, yeah, like I said, where I finally when I met Lex, when I met Clark and Lois, and like some of the chemistry there sucked me into the movie so thoroughly for a second that I was in it. But yeah, now that you're saying it that way, I don't think I was really ever, for the most part, in this thing.
Yeah, I do. My bob and weave.
Of belief could not fly.
I bob and weave myself.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like little pieces where something will happen and I'll just go, ugh.
Yeah,
and then I'm back.
But yes, I feel like I was just on the other side of that, where I just had moments where I was in just a little bit, but it was like one of the dreams where you realize you're dreaming and pop out.
Yeah, I get it, man.
Couldn't quite do it. I think it was just because the intro, there's so much up front to kind of get through that I just never quite got there. So
yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I hope you like the next one better.
Yeah, we'll see.
And I'll take a look at the news, and Superman 2 will either be next week or it'll be news.
It'll be an adjacent week in some capacity.
But yeah, just tune in if you want to, and what we'll be talking about is, either way, we'll be talking about Superman.
Yeah.
Whether it's one of these movies or
it's going to, I'm actually, no, shit. I had Superman on this morning. Now I have your Watchmen shirt.
Oh, yeah, the Watchmen shirt.
The Mirror Watchmen shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be a Superman heavy time for us. You know what? I will get to say one nice thing after this. Yeah, I watched this movie yesterday, and I woke up this morning with the urge, and I didn't get to do it, and I should. I woke up this morning with the distinct urge to go watch the trailer for the Gunn film.
Mm-hmm.
And that was nice. I don't know that they're connected, but something in the spirit of them made me really want to go watch the trailer for this new film. And like,
well, I mean, the music, the color.
I know.
Hopefully the hope. It does seem.
Yeah, but my 2 pages of nitpicking and lack of suspension of disbelief aside, I still, there's something in there still got to me in some kind of way, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Don't do that. It's insidious.
Yeah, that's what the S stands for.
I can smell it on you.
City.
Smell is what the S is for.
Yeah.
What does the S stand for? Sniff.
Yeah. S stands for shut the hell up.
What do you mean sniff? I know you're on your period, Lois.
Why?
Why, yes, Lois, I do like red very much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, we've gotten to a weird place now.
Also, it was 1978. We didn't know lead was a huge thing yet, did we? I meant to look that up too.
Oh.
A lot of the lead-free stuff happened in like the 80s and 90s, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we knew that lead was a damaging product at that time.
I'm going to go to hell for this one, but by the way, that's another way that Superman is like Moses. He also likes to part the Red Sea.
Oh. Oh, my.
Why, Lois, it's that time of the month again, isn't it? Oh, Superman. Why, Superman? Well,
you defeated me. I have nowhere but to go but off.
this is where yes and eventually gets you. Just short of improve.
Right.
Just short of improvement. Anyway, yeah. Thank you so much for listening. And be sure to write in about that last line. Let us know how much we disgusted you before you decided to never listen again.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. If anyone who's made it to this point, please feel free to, much like I did for the entire movie, tell us at what point we should have stopped this fucking review. Just, you could pinch that as a percentage. A time that about 45 minutes ago would be a fun.
I think there's a good 20% of people who would say you should have stopped when Jason said, "I don't like this fucking movie."
Yeah.
I feel like our if you play our reviews, and God help you if you do, if you played our reviews of Man of Steel and Superman the movie back to back, you would find the inverse.
You would. I don't feel like
Jason vehemently defending Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And then well, now it's time for Dave to vehemently.
Yeah.
I didn't really vehemently defend it. I shit on their Sky poem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have fun shitting on all of this stuff. I also love it all.
Yeah.
So I actually do.
It maybe would have helped if I had said that I did have some effusive things to say, but also didn't really enjoy the movie. But that was hours ago, long after those people stopped listening. So,
yeah. Is it weird that there's a part of me that just doesn't want this review to be shorter? Our review for Superman the movie to be shorter than our fucking review for Batman Forever? It feels like it needs to be a little longer.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think either one of them is going to get to the 4 hours I think we did on Dark Knight Rises. And that was a truncated 4. That was our tight 4. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, no, yeah, that is true.
Whatever you heard on that, if anyone who's actually listening to this listened back that far, yeah. So whatever you heard there, some less than 10 years ago, that was the Titan version. You should have heard the version in our kitchen.
Yeah,
a couple of years before we sat down and talked about it.
And it is just us like forgetting what we've already said and complaining about the same stuff over and over again. I think.
Yeah. But I mean, effectively, we were just reciting. Not that we didn't practice. Like we finished watching the film and then we sat and bitched about it for like 8 hours, and then.
By the way, I hate to undermine what you said. I just looked it up. Our Dark Knight Rises review, which is titled "The Dark Knight Rises Review: The Worst Batman Film Ever Made."
Of course it is.
Yeah, that is our review is an hour and 35
God,
minutes
that feels
long.
so much longer.
Doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Isn't that wild?
That is beautiful.
Isn't that wild? God.
I'm surprised we shrunk that down to an hour and a half too. Because we went on for hours and hours, and then like whatever we did there was just our best recollection of that bitching session.
Yeah, our Man of Steel review was 2 hours.
Oh, our
Man of Steel commentary was 2 hours and 25 minutes.
See, the extra we added the extra 30 minutes was me defending Man of Steel versus the Dark Knight Rises, where the defense did not show up to court that day. The prosecution went on for an hour and a half, and the defense went.
By the way, our Superman Man of Tomorrow review, 34 minutes. That's how long it took us to go, this sucks. All right.
It was not as compelling.
No. Anyway, if you do listen to Man of Steel commentary track, rather than the recap and review, I do think the commentary track, I'm much more happy with the movie, or more flattering of the movie. Like, because by that point, I'd seen it a bunch more times and I was more on board with what Snyder was doing.
It's true, yeah.
Or I was more open to it anyway. Like, I still disagree with most of his choices. I think I just was more willing to accept it.
Yeah, it had a different context by the second time.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Until next time, finally.
Yeah.
Keep some DC on your screen.
Bye.